Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 29 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And this week we have probably one of the most famous car builders in the industry right now, Nick Wautlet of Wallie Builds. I decided to get Nick on here because I think he's doing some good stuff here in the industry. He's a racer. He works for AE. He's got his own private business building cars, rewiring cars, and snowflaking them out. He's really active on social media right now. He's currently building a short course for Justin Barsha. I think it's cool. We agree on a lot of things in RC about the demographics that we have to hit. I met him at Silver State. He done well here recently at the Manufacturers Cup. So I said, let's bring him on and talk for a little while. So that's our guest this weekend. Before I go on any further, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors. First off, I'd like to say thank you to Assault RC for sponsoring the Invisible Speed segment, which we do not have this week because Joseph was traveling back to Finland after the awesome RCGP race, which I'll talk about in a bit. So I wasn't able to record one with him, but I will do it next week. So sorry, guys, no Assault RC Invisible Speed segment this week. Techno RC for the Grassroots Racer Spotlight. Thank you for doing this. This week's guest is Mike Fuller. His kids had a great weekend at AMS this weekend. So I talked to him a few weeks ago and recorded this. So he's our Grassroots Racer Spotlight. And well, the fastraceshop.com 10 question, 10 second segment is with Nick this weekend. Shout out to all the No Name RC podcast listeners from around the world. Been getting messages from you guys. Once again, I really appreciate it. If you're interested in being the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight, hit me up. I am recording this week with a few guys. Tomorrow, I think Thursday. So I tried to knock out a few of those in a day because, real life's kind of catching up with me lately. It's summertime. My family's out. My son's out of school. Really happy of him. He graduated top of his class. I know I'm not trying to brag, but he graduated top of his class 3rd year in a row. I don't know where he gets that from. He must get it from his mom because he doesn't get it from me because I sucked in school and I'm not the smartest guy, I don't think. Some days I'm smart. Some days I'm not. His birthday was this weekend. So, hey, happy birthday to my son, 7 years old. 7 years ago, my life changed and my son came around. Now I have a little daughter, so my life's changed even more. Kids, man, they'll change your life for the better. I think I greatly assume, I believe in that. I wouldn't change it anyway. Shout out to Brent Desford Beach RC. Without him, I couldn't do this. And shout out to all my JQ Racing family from around the world. You guys were racing this weekend. And it was awesome. I want to say special shout out to Jason Stubbs. Young Jason, 14 years old. Only been racing for about a year and a half, maybe not even that. Him and his dad are really good people. Met him and raced with him on a couple times at some big races. He won Sportsman at AMS this weekend, and I'm really happy for him. Also happy for Mike Walker, who won Sportsman Nitro Truck at AMS this weekend. Congratulations to him. I know he's super happy about that because that's his first big win and he's been doing this for a long time. So congratulations. And congratulations to Trent Walker, who made all 3 of his mains as well. He had some bad luck in both his mains with some lap traffic, but that's part of racing. And one of our newest drivers, Cody Watson, who he did pretty well. I think he bumped up to the A main and open, and he won open truck. So congratulations to all those guys. All the JQ racers that attended AMS, well done. So before I go on any further, I do want to touch on something that is a bit sad. I think yesterday I was on Facebook and I saw Mark Parrish make a post about his son Tyler. Now, if you don't know the Parrish family, I actually met them at PMB last year. It's Mark and his wife and his two sons, Trevor and Tyler. Now, Trevor and Tyler are wheelchair bound and they race RC cars. I know Mark and his wife work really hard to help those guys race. It's not easy. I met Tyler and both Trevor. Really nice kids. They've been sick lately. Tyler more than Trevor. And I just read a message post from Mark yesterday where Tyler's asked to be put in hospice, which is, not good. So I kind of feel sorry. I really feel sad for the Parrish family because I know they work really hard. RC was a big part of their life for these kids and for that family. So, positive vibes and prayers sent out to that family. If you know them, shoot them a message of encouragement because it's really sad when somebody is like this in our community, because we're an RC community at the end of the day, and we should support each other, and we don't want to see any of our racers being lost. But I don't know the exact details. I know when you get put in hospice, it's not good. So send a message to the Parrish family, and trust me, the Parrish family, you guys are deep in my thoughts. And I wish I just have positive vibes and prayers sent out for you guys. So send them a message, guys. Show them some encouragement. And if you have, they were very popular on the East Coast scene, Midwest scene, race scene. If you don't know who they are, just go have a look on Facebook. Find Mark Parrish. And hey, man, send them an encouraging message, please. We try to help our own here. And we don't, like I said, we don't want to see anybody in the RC community leaving us or having issues. So positive vibes and prayers sent out to the Parrish family. They had a big effect on me when I met them. Nice people, always smiling. Offered me a nice couple of times. They offered me a pulled pork sandwiches, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And that's part of RC that I really like, going around meeting new people and getting to know people. So yeah, sad times for them. Okay. On to this next subject. This weekend was a really good weekend for RC. It's summertime. Racing was alive and well this weekend. We had multiple big races in America. We had AMS, RC Pro, JBRL. You had the Battle of Rumble Room in New York. Those come to mind. You had over in Europe, you had the Kyosho Masters. Obviously, you had RCGP, which was freaking awesome. AMS was awesome too, but RCGP was awesome this year. This weekend, if you haven't seen it, I don't know how you missed it because it's been all over the place. There's pictures, there's race reports, there's everything out there. The racing was great. Ongaro won overall, but it wasn't easy this time. Barufalo came in, shook things up. He won a race on Saturday. I think, but Ongaro won overall on Saturday. Then Sunday, David Ronafalk had a really bad day on Saturday, but pulled it all together to come second on the Sunday. And the long race, it looked like a great event. Everybody had fun. All the pictures that I saw, people were smiling, having a great time. That's what RC is all about. I think next year it's going to be in Fairhaven track again. It was a great event. Congratulations to Ongaro for winning it. Congratulations to Leonardo Valente for winning RC2. And we will do a full race recap of that on the Starting Grid, the RCGP, the official podcast of the RCGP series later on this week. As soon as Joseph gets settled, I don't know, maybe we'll bring David on and have him talk about it as well. So we'll see. AMS was great, a little low on entries compared to last year when I went, but I think that's because they changed the dates because of some concert or some big festival, music festival that happened. So hotel space would have been limited. It was still a great race. The less amount of entries made for a more comfortable race. Racing was done in a timely manner. People complained about the track, But they complained about the track last year that it was too big, which I actually liked the track last year. It was fun to practice on and drive on, but not fun to race on with 15 cars. This year, they went very tame, very mellow. I think it was still a great track. It made for some good racing. Like I said, obviously, Jason Stubbs won Sportsman Nitro. Mike Walker won Truggy. I'm not sure who won Open Buggy. I know Lutz absolutely dominated Pro Buggy, which was great. He was dominating Pro Truck, and then Ty Tessman put an awesome pass on him. A lot of people say it's dirty. I don't think so. Actually, Jeff and I talk about it in the rant this week. But, that's my opinion. I thought it was a great pass. I can't remember who won E-Buggy because I didn't really pay much attention to it. But it was a great event. Dave had some awesome trophies, aluminum plaques. I thought they were gigantic. And I think it was a great event, man. Looks like everybody had fun. One sour note is Alex Vaughn's. Someone stole Alex Vaughn TLR 8X E-Buggy. He actually made it into the open E-Buggy main. I think I can be wrong, but it got stolen from staging. And I've been to a few races where people's buggies have been stolen, man. And it's upsetting when people go around and do this. But you got to be careful. I mean, even myself, when I'm at big races, I have a bad habit of just leaving my phone on my pit desk or something like that, my pit table, and just walking off because I forget it. And, you got to be vigilant at these races and keep an eye on your stuff. So, sorry about that, Alex. Keep an eye out for the buggy. It's been posted up on Facebook. We posted it up on this, on the No Name RC podcast, Facebook as well. Usually these things surface because people try to sell them, but, sometimes they don't. So we shall see. Yeah, lots of racing going on this weekend. Obviously, working for JQ Racing, I talked to people all around the world. I know there was lots of racing going on in Mexico. They had a nationals. I was talking to the guys. They're running JQ Racing. Congratulations to Lico and Alam. They won there. Racing in Colombia. Congratulations to Matias, a young kid that won there. Uruguay had a nice, good race this weekend. Congratulations to Adrian De Luca. Bolivia, they raced. I'm just going off. There was so much racing going on. My brain was fried with racing. Also in Chile, they were racing. The Kyosho Masters, Tahana Craddock won expert class. That's good. Wow, it's summertime and people are racing, man. That's a good thing to see. But we still need to grow this hobby. So good stuff. Great weekend of racing. Great weekend of racing. Great weekend for RC. This weekend we have coming up, we have the Euro Bs this weekend in Italy, which should be great. I believe RC Racing TV is covering them, so that should be fun. We have the Border Wars race in El Paso at Sun City RC with the Shawers family. And we have the Northwest Championship Tour going to Potlatch, Idaho. One of the best series races I've seen in America. Very close. I'm really liking what's going on up in the Northwest. It's looks like really good racing, lots of fun. It's a series race. They don't get much outdoor racing because it snows and stuff up there. So when they do get to these races, they're pretty full. They got a lot of entries. They run 10 scale and 8 scale at the same time. So that's about all that I know of going on this weekend so far. There's probably some more races going on. I think there's a SOS race going on in South Carolina. Not sure. I don't know. Yeah, lots of racing going on. RC's heating up. One of my favorite races of the year is next weekend. That's the 1/8 scale Fuel Nationals in Thornhill. Unfortunately, I won't be attending. I did go last year. This year I can't make it. So I'll hopefully be just watching from Live RC if they cover it. No, I don't know who's covering or if it's being covered. If not, I'll just watch. Hopefully Thomas will be there and I'll watch J Concepts coverage. But great race coming up. We'll talk about that more next week, I think. I really love the Nationals. I really love the Euros. The Euros coming up in July. So lots of racing coming up. And hey, it's summertime, man. People are racing. So I hope you guys are all having fun going out there and racing because, after summer, when the winter comes and it starts raining and snowing, then you're all going to be wishing for summer. So have fun while you can. For the people that are fortunate to have good weather all year round, enjoy it as well. Lots of racing. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right, guys. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Sorry. I said I'm not going to ramble on anymore, but I will say one thing. The Rumble in Rome race, I watched it briefly. I touched on it briefly. I saw something that I really liked. They didn't have any sportsman or open classes. It was 8-scale buggy, 8-scale e-buggy, and that's it. You know, finish where you start, finish where you end, where you finish. And I thought that was good. We need to see more races like that as well. You know, yes, there's a place for sportsman open and all that as well. 40 plus, I agree. You know, that's not going anywhere. It's here. But it's good to see a race with just, no classes, just classes by chassis. So good stuff to those guys. I don't really know too much about that race. I know a few JQ guys went up there. So all good. All right. Not going to ramble on anymore. I'm done. This weekend, no Joseph on the rant because we couldn't get him. He was traveling. So it's just myself and Jeff. No Assault RC Invisible Speed setup segment. We will come back with that next week. We will start this off with the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. Thanks a lot, everybody, and enjoy. Thank you for the continued support and enjoy the podcast.
You are entering the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. The part of the podcast that gives the listeners a platform to talk about RC. Brought to you by Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products.
So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. This is the segment brought to you by Techno RC for the Grassroots Racer, for the listeners of the No Name RC podcast, to give you a platform to talk about RC, tell people where you race, what you like, what you dislike. If something's pissing you off, this is your time to talk about it. So, on this week's Grassroots Racer Spotlight, we actually do not have a racer, I believe. We have a race pit dad. His sons are extremely, they're young and they're extremely fast. They're from the Midwest. Mr. Mike Fuller. What's up, Mike? How are you?
How's it going, Keenan? Doing great.
Great. How you doing, dude?
Just recovering from racing yesterday. We went to LRT track in Iowa and raced with like Tollards. Tom Rennick was there. He actually rode with us. Vanderbeek, so they're another fast Midwest kid. Mm-hmm. We just raced with them. Mm-hmm. So,
if you guys don't know who Mike is, you may know his children, Caden and... Oh, man, why am I forgetting your other son's name?
Mason.
Mason is the older one, right?
Yep.
Okay, Mason is the older one, and Caden is the younger one. They're fast in two-wheel drive. They're fast in 10 scale, and they're really fast in 8 scale. I've watched them a few times at not personally, but I watched them when I've been watching some races from Hobbyplex and whatnot. So, hey, man, tell us how you got into this.
All right, my story is I used to be a motocross racer back earlier, one of my younger years when I was in shape and could do it. And then it seemed like whenever I'd get hurt, you always have injuries and whatnot. And I always could stop by the hobby shop. I had one that was close to me. I'd always see that stuff. And I was like, man, this stuff's pretty cool. So I'd go in there. I think I got a gas truck one time. It was fun. When I was hurt, I was like, take it. And, it's kind of the closest thing you get to motocross, really. So kind of get the motocross bug out doing that. So I kind of dabbled in it then. When I just on injury time, really, is when I would do it. I never got really serious into it. And then, what was it? As I got older, I quit doing motocross. And I was like, man, I want to keep racing. So I got an 8 scale. And started doing that. And that's kind of how my racing got started, was just kind of that way.
Okay. So you don't race anymore, do you?
Not really. I might race once in a while, but no, pretty much I just concentrate on the boys.
Yeah. How long did you race, after motocross? How long did you actually, fully race before your sons got involved?
I think I raced for a couple years.
Okay. Did you get good at it?
I would be like, I could win club races in stock. Maybe go to like a J Concept race and make the main in like stock short course or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing. I was never really fast, but I could drive and not wreck much.
Okay.
It's pretty good at not wrecking.
How did your boys get into it then?
Caden was pretty young then. He was probably 3, so he didn't really, get into it too much. But then Mason was around 5, and he'd go and he'd watch or whatever, and then he just really want to watch and be intent into it. And then at the end of the day, whatever I'd say, "Hey, you want to run the car around?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." He'd want to do it. So I'd give him the 8 scale, turn it down, of course, and just let him do some laps. And dude, you'd watch this kid, and even at 5, he could legit do laps around the track. So
Really?
That's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd give him the car, and I'd reward him. I'd say, "Man, you just did 10 laps in a row. You didn't wreck." I'd kind of if you do, I'd praise him on not hitting anything, not hitting a pipe. I'd say, look at that. You went around there, you didn't hit the pipe. You didn't wreck. So I'd say, if you can do 20 laps in a row, I'll turn that thing up for you.
Really?
So then I'd probably have that thing down at like 30% on the EPA, just where he'd have to go full throttle and just work on the steering. So all you had to do is, just pin it and get the steering down. So when he mastered the steering, then I was like, all right, now it's time for some power. And then I'd just turn it up, maybe 40%. And then, you can do 20, 30 laps in a row and not wreck. I'll give you some more power,
Good stuff.
So that's kind of how he got going.
When did he really start getting into it, and like where you didn't have to have him on, turning his card on and probably getting into nitro a little bit more as well?
We didn't do nitro until really, really late. We did 10 scale pretty much starting out. So I started racing him. He started going and doing stock buggy, stock short course. Stock short course is huge. Stock buggy was pretty huge. So that's what he started out in. And so I think he was around 7 when he started getting really fast. We went down to a J Concepts race. It was our first kind of big race, one of the INS races down in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And he, if I can remember right, he won truck. I think he won short course. And, I know he was in the A's and everything. I can't remember if he won stock buggy. I remember he won short course or whatever. He raced with Chad Staub's dad. They had a good battle for 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a long time ago, so I'm not sure, but I know he did really good. And Jason Rona after the race come up to him and was like, "Hey man," he's like, "Hey, your son's doing really good." He's like, he caught Jason Rona's eye at that age, 7 years old. He's like, "What kind of tires are you running?" I was like, "Well, we run your guys' tires." And he kind of offered him a sponsorship, and then so that was kind of when he first got noticed and first.
That's
really
cool.
Fast.
That's how it used to be, When you get noticed, they offer you something, that's how old school RC used to be. So
I would have never really thought about going up to him at that time. I didn't think anything.
He definitely saw something in Mason. It's paying off because both of your kids are really doing really good. I mean, just that area that you guys are in is chock full of talent, man. In 10 scale and 8 scale, you got yourself, you got you guys, you got Drayton whenever he runs. He's still running a lot of stock. Cole Tollard, the Van Dalens, we was naming off names like that Midwest area is a hotbed of really fast young guys. And,
man, that's insane. The Midwest is nuts. There's a lot of talent. I hate to start naming off names stuff like I miss a bunch, but
yeah. I'm sure it's pretty amazing. It just seems like that area produces fast guys. I mean, isn't Tebow and Lutz from that same area? So
Tebow's Kansas City.
Okay.
He's right there, Midwest. Yeah. Lutz is right out there. Bornhorst is out there in the Midwest. They call it the Midwest.
It's pretty
Spencer
amazing.
Hecker, he's from there.
Yeah. All fast dudes.
Drayton Staub. Yeah, you got the Horns are from there.
Yep.
You got Vanderbeek's from here. Tom Rennernick's from here. You just start.
You're just naming off names like that are all like that I know and that are fast. Like
Austin Wick. He's a Midwest kid.
Wow, that's
you guys. Van Dalen's.
Yeah, so when you go to races, like it's racing. Like
we just went to the LRT and you had Tollard there. Mason was there. Tom Rennernick was there. Alex Vanderbeek was there. Austin Wick was there.
That's
lots of fast people. And it's just kind of a little series race, not even big race, but
that's insane. Well, when you race against fast guys. Or faster guys, you get faster, Yeah,
exactly.
So that's
for sure.
That's good stuff. So, what is you and your son's favorite type of racing, RC wise?
Right now, I'd say nitro for sure, nitro buggy.
So you definitely like the Nitro is the glory slogan?
That's for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the most rewarding when everything goes right, because you got to have everything perfect. So, and then 10 scale buggy second, I would say.
Yeah. How do you keep up with 2 cars or more? How do you do it?
Oh, it's nuts. I don't.
Do your sons wrench any at all?
Mason's starting to. He's doing.
Okay.
He helps me out quite a bit. He's actually built his last 3 or 4 kits.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Caden's only 11, so if I let him do anything, it ends up being more work for me because I got
you got to go over it.
I fix more repair. You know what I mean? Whatever he messes up, I'm gonna end up fixing. But he does. He's cleaning tires and doing stuff like that, helping me out. I tell him I got to keep track of their batteries because I can't even do that anymore. So
yeah, I could. Wow, you must be busy when you get to these tracks, dude. So busy. But hey, man, this is what we do for our children, eh?
Oh yeah, it's so fun. I mean, if I did good, I wouldn't care. It's when you're a dad, I always say, it's way more rewarding to see your kids do good than yourself.
I'm wondering we got a new track opening up here, and I'm probably gonna get my old e-buggy out for my son and let him. When we go down there, let him drive. You'll see. He knows everything now. It's hard to tell him anything. He's 7, but knows everything that's going on in the world. So, it's a little bit difficult. He gets that from his mother, I believe. So you actually, what's your home track or your favorite track?
Well, our home track is my buddy actually owns it. His name's Brad Horse. I used to do motocross with him, and I got him into 8 scale. He had his little track in his back of his shop. I took one of the 8 scales over there. One of the boys that run on it, and he saw that and he got hooked. He's like, "Oh, this is so fun." He had like slashes they were running around there.
Really?
And he saw that 8 scale rip around. He's like, "Oh, I got to get one of these." So anyway, he started buying all the stuff and started racing at Omaha with me. And then we lost our track here, so he kind of like, "Man, let's build a track." He's got a big building with some room, so we built a track in there. But he's more motocross right now, but in the winter he likes doing it. So
yeah,
it's kind of a seasonal thing for him.
Yeah, I say this over and over. The demographic that we have to really attack to get more people into RC is motocross.
Oh, it's huge. I agree.
People get, like yourself, they get injured, they get tired of getting injured, and then I think this is the next. I've ridden motocross bikes. I've never really been on a track, but I think maybe this is a lot of the technique from riding motocross translates into RC in 8 scale especially. It translates a lot into RC off-road. That's what I feel, because I look at guys like Bornhorst, who was really good at motocross, and he's naturally picked up RC. Tebow's an avid motocrosser, and he's good. I don't know.
Tyler Jones, he was the same way. He did motocross when he was younger. Picked it up good. There's a lot of them people like that.
Tyler's a nice kid. I had a nice interview with him after his PMB win. Very good to see a young guy doing well and get different winners. I love that.
Yeah, that kid's got tons of speed. He just seems like he's always has bad luck here and there, but that one kind of all pulled through for him right there.
Yeah.
I've always known he can win. He's got the speed, no doubt.
Yeah, I can't wait to this group of young kids start racing. And then, like, all the European guys that start racing it's going to be so great. It's going to be, I'm going to be, like, just foaming at the mouth when I've been watching race. I can't wait, man. Can't wait. So.
I don't know. I feel like there's always going to be talent coming up,
Yeah.
It's just always somebody wanting to beat the next guys,
Yeah, that's for sure. So, outside of your home track, what is one of your favorite tracks that you probably would like to go to or have been to, that you would like to go to again, or a track that you would like to go to?
I like OCRC. Mm-hmm. We went there. We've been to the Reedy race a couple times. That's really cool. Really nice place.
Nice facility.
Trying to think. That Thornhill, I'm looking forward to going to Thornhill. That looks really neat. Everybody that's went down there says it's really, really good.
Yes.
Looking forward to that one. I just like going to new tracks in general. Mm-hmm. Nothing really particular. I just like different tracks.
Yeah.
I don't really have a favorite. I pretty much like them all for one reason or the other.
Yeah, it's like, I think one of my favorite tracks that I've been to myself, and I say this over and over, and it amazes me that it never really gets used by the locals. Well, I wouldn't say locals, but the people that race, is the track in Santa Barbara. in California. It's about 2.5 hours outside of SoCal. One of the most beautiful tracks you can ever see, and set in one of the most beautiful settings. And like none of the guys from SoCal go up there. It's so crazy.
What's the name of it? Do you remember the name?
Channel Islands Raceway.
Yes, I never even heard of it.
It's got it's got this berm straightaway. Like it's like a banked oval straightaway that you just come off the jump and you can hold that. Well, when I was there, you held it full chat right around the whole bank. Like you was literally on the bank. Yeah, great track, great track. All right. So coming from motocross and now you're fully into RC. What really do you like about RC that draws you to it?
My thing about it was you can get into this, like a guy like me, if I can get the kids, going to these races and get pro level equipment for basically the price of an exhaust system on a 250F or something, you know what I mean? You can get, so it's just the price. If you want to do something and be competitive, this is the hobby for you.
And you have to do it twice.
Yeah, I got to do it twice.
Yeah. So, when people say this hobby is so expensive, yes. If you raced 5,000 classes, yes. But it's still very cheap compared to other things, to other forms of racing.
Oh, it's definitely the cheapest. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. I mean,
and guess
you're
what?
You're not going to be able to do anything cheaper and you get just the same adrenaline rush. You get, like when I'm racing up there, I get arm pump. I get all tightened up.
Oh, yeah?
I get the same. Yeah, if I'm racing, I even get into it too. I get the same.
Oh, it's so stressful.
Same type of adrenaline rush.
It's so stressful. Like I'm me sitting there in the pits, just like rocking back and forth. Like what's going on? Like yeah, I love it too, man. I love RC, and I meet so many good people. I've met even throughout my life in RC, and I've met you, and I think that's awesome too. Like, so I consider every person I meet, that's a RC brother, as I like to say. What would you like to see change in RC at the moment? What don't you like about it? What would you like to see change?
Well, what I think is just the events are too long. So like a lot of if you could do a 1 day format, that's what, like at our races we do a winter series or even we're doing a summer race. Try to do everything in a day, so people can travel in and travel out. They don't have to pay for a hotel. We would go to way more races if they were 1 day events, and okay, you might not get as much practice. You might not be perfectly set up for the event, but you wouldn't care because you're gonna be like, all right, I'll better race these guys again soon. We did shorter events. We could have way more big races where people could travel and go, so they're not so devoted. Like you gotta, like everybody has to pick and choose now. It's like, do I want to go to this one? Do I want to go to that one? That's gonna be four hotel nights. It's gonna be 2 days off work. If you did these you could run this program on a Saturday. You could travel in on a Friday, leave on a Sunday. Maybe you don't take 1 day off or whatever,
Yeah.
Or none at all.
Well, then close. I think then we would have to cap entries and raise entry fee, and then run less classes. Like so.
No, I agree. Well, I'd like to go to a race. It's only nitro buggy.
Yeah.
Just like you go to a motocross, supercross race or whatever. Well, they just run. I mean, they run 250F and 450 class, whatever.
Yeah. So,
you don't have to run all these classes like we do. We do too many classes.
Oh, I agree, man. I mean, I like truggy and the e-buggy has its place and all that stuff, and I get that we need to have those at different races. But I like nitro buggy, and I think if you just have a nitro buggy race 1 week, maybe you can have an e-buggy race the next week. I don't know. But definitely shorter races. I think, like we was talking earlier, for you, it's not... Yes, it's money because you have to pay for extra hotel, but it's time off work. It's time off school for the children. And it's hard. They can't miss a lot of school, but if to get to these bigger races, because there's 700 entries, they got to be there for 3-4 days. 3 days isn't bad if you could come in on a Friday, be done early on a Sunday and go home. But it's difficult, man. It's difficult.
Well, see, like you could break it down. Well, okay, the pros run 1 day. Say the pros run Friday or I don't know which day it would be, but anyway, you could do it that way where the pros run race 1 day. You should be able to qualify a race and do our stuff in 1 day. Then the sportsmen in 1 day, and maybe the intermediates in 1 day or combine. However you want to do it, but I think it could be worked out that way.
Yeah. Like we was talking before we came on air, implementing change is very hard. So, we have an old guard in RC that just want to see things stay the same way, and then they don't want nothing to change. And we have a new guard coming in RC that wants to, do things a little bit different. So it's always going to be a constant fight, in my opinion, anyway. So we shall see, man. But that's a good idea, man. Shorter races, one class, a more like you're going to pay $100 anyway to go to these bigger races.
$100,
yeah. Well, why don't you pay $125 and you get more run time? Like,
I would if we could do. I'd pay more money for the entry fee.
Yeah.
If it was just a 1 day deal, you're going to save it on your hotels. Okay, a hotel costs you $130.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd give Motor the race promoter. You know what I mean? You're saving me money on hotel fees.
Got that. I understand, man. So with your sons becoming more competitive, do they do any other type of sports outside of RC?
Mason, pretty much that's all he wants to do is RC. Caden, he loves basketball. He's wanting me to let him play football this year.
Okay.
So I don't know. He's more into other stuff, but
yeah. So do you put stipulations on them for school and whatnot like that? If they don't do good in school, they can't race, or
they gotta have A's and B's. I mean, if they don't have A's and B's, then they don't get a raise.
That's
like,
awesome.
We're not going.
That's awesome. That's great.
I mean, that's that school's your job. Like if I don't do my job, then you guys can't go race. So
good stuff, man. And that teaches them responsibility. From early age.
Exactly.
Good job on that. So what? All right. I know you're a dad. We all think we want our sons to do better than what we do. What are your hopes and aspirations for your sons in RC?
I really believe they can both go as far as they want. They both have the crazy talent for it. It's just going to come down to how much work they want to put in. You know, once you get to a certain level, talent can only get you so far.
Yep.
Then you got to have the talent and the work ethic. So.
Yes. Well, you seem to be a smart dude, and you seem to be instilling that work ethic into them at a young age.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I know. I have 2 kids too. That's cool, man. I like talking to other fathers. I think you're doing a great job. I haven't met your kids. I've just heard really positive things about them from everybody I've talked to, as well as you. I think you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Before I go, hold on, I have one more question for you. Do you and your sons have a favorite driver out of anybody in RC? It doesn't matter what class they run.
Favorite driver, man. I don't know. I'm not that kind of guy. Like I just like watching. I've always liked Mayfield a lot. I mean, he was really cool to us. Said a lot of words to Mason. I remember when he was younger. He's been really cool. I like Dakota obviously because we're on the TLR team and he's we're kind of fans of the TLR team just because of that fact. But so I'd say probably Mayfield and Finn.
All right.
I'm not really fanboys of anybody like that.
Right, I get it.
Because, like even in other sports, I just like watching good racing, and I just like seeing good racing. So whoever's winning or close or whatever, I kind of root for them.
Good stuff.
I don't know.
So, and then your next big races that you're attending here shortly?
For Nitro's side of it, it's AMS. Then we're going to nationals.
Okay, and those are pretty close together, aren't they? AMS.
Yeah, two weeks apart. Yeah. So it's in 2 weeks is AMS, and then 2 weeks after that, it's nationals.
Are you going to drive down to Alabama and to Thornhill?
Yeah, we'll drive to both of them. I got too much stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to fly with all that stuff, man.
Yeah. With 2 racers, I got double the.
Yeah.
Double the.
You got double the money, double the work. Oh man, I don't want to hear anybody complain to me about RC being too expensive. If you're competing, if your kids are competing on a great level, and you're doing it all for them. So when somebody says, I can't afford to do this, yes, maybe you can't. And I'm going to say, well, this guy pays for both his kids and they race steadily, Well,
you can do it. You just got to, like when we club race, they race one car. They just race my buggy, So, yeah, I can't afford to race, pay for them to race 3 classes at club racing. So, you know what I mean?
You got to be smart about it, man.
Yeah, you just run one class is what I say,
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I agree with you, man. Too many people get caught up wanting to go to a race and running 5 classes, man. That's so expensive. So
and I get flack for doing it at big races because I'll have you go to big huge races where there's a lot of downtime. They do run 3 at big races, but which is nuts.
I could imagine.
But yeah, club racing 1 class.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Do you have any advice for other fathers out there that maybe have their kids and they're trying to do the same thing that you're doing?
I think what the biggest problem I see is people go out there and turn their kid loose with a way too fast of a car. Like I say, when I started with my kids, and I don't reward them I never did reward them with lap time.
Mm-hmm.
Like reward them with how many laps in a row can you go, without making a mistake. So like that, like I said, talked earlier about Mason starting out. Like even when they were starting to get pretty good, even racing stocks. Okay, say you're out there racing. I'm like, dude, if you come off and you have more than 3 wrecks, I'm turning your car down. The thing's too fast for you. You know what I mean? Because you're too quick. You can't handle it. So I would always reward them with speed and no mistakes.
That's a good way.
Then the lap times will come with that.
That's
just running clean, running the line. If you're staying in the line and you're under control, you're going to get your lap times down.
Cool. So before we sign off, is there anybody you'd like to shout out to or thank or, hey, say what's up to them while you're here on the podcast? You got this platform?
Oh, man. Well, I got to thank everybody from Horizon and TLR, obviously. I mean, they help us out a ton. Reds, they've been helping us out huge. We run their all the nitro motors and their electric stuff, and we haven't had any issues at all with any of that stuff. Perfect. I mean, I can't complain at all on that stuff. I got 00 Designs. He paints all our bodies for me. I got a lot of bodies to paint, and he hooks me up with the deal and usually gets the stuff out to me quick. J Concepts is huge. But we've been them for a long time since, like I say, since Mason was 7. So
that's a long time.
Yeah.
Cool. How about any of your local racers and tracks that might be listening to this?
Well, we got who else? I mean, Tom Rennernick, Caden Shea, Eric Larson. He always helps me with the track rebuilds. Tim Sutherland, they're always at the track. He brings his kid. So, I mean, all the people that I could just start naming off names, but Alex Vanderbeek, you got to have the people at your track. The reason I think my kids are so good is because there's probably 5 kids that religiously come to the track and they race each other all the time. So, you know what I mean? If you don't have that, you're never going to get good. So,
good stuff.
All those people that just show up to your racetrack and push you. Yeah, you got to have that.
Yeah, and you're also good friends with one of our young drivers from JQ Racing, Ashton. Who?
Ashton's a cool kid, dude. Kid. We met him over in Omaha. We raced with him in the Winter Series a lot. He does, and he can. He actually started racing 10 scale. What was it, last year? He got a car. This kid was beating like vet guys that are 100% sponsored.
Yeah,
I can't believe he gave up his 10th scale program.
Well,
but he did.
He's kind of
legit, man.
He's doing it all on his own, dude. He's in school. He's got his job. He's paying for all his stuff. He's coming on to the nationals. I hope that I'll be there to meet him. I like him. I talk to him a lot. Smart kid, very smart kid.
Very smart, super friendly.
Yeah,
and he hard worker. And he'll stay with. When we go over there, he stays with us at the hotel a lot.
That's
good.
He
stays the night with us.
I appreciate that too because I try to help him out when I can too, but it's hard. But I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you coming on the Grassroots Racer Spotlight. Keep up the good work with your children. For me, you're a role model of a father-son team. I like to see that, and I've learned something more about Midwest racing just talking to you. And tell your kids I said hello. Hopefully we can get them on the podcast one day, have a little chat with them, do a little interview with them. And I definitely want to get some more of those Midwest top guys on as well, because I'm doing Future of RC series as well. I'm going to start getting more young kids on the podcast. And
awesome.
Keep up the awesome job, man. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Keenan. You keep up the good work too, man. Love your podcast, and you're doing an awesome job with it.
I appreciate it. And thank you to Techno RC for bringing us the Grassroots Racer Spotlight.
Hey, this is Nick from Wallie Builds, and you're listening to the No Name RC podcast.
So, hey, everybody. This week's guest, coming to us all the way from SoCal, Huntington Beach, California, Nick Wautlet. I know a lot of you people may not know him as Nick Wautlet, but may know him as Wallie Builds. What's up, Nick? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just chilling out. Trying to chill out on this hot day here in the DR. How's things going in SoCal?
It's pretty warm, but I mean, it's pretty nice here all the time, so it's not too hard to deal with.
Man, I love California, man. You guys have the best weather all year round. Even in the winter, it gets cool, but it's not that bad. So
yeah.
But Yeah, sorry, go
some
ahead.
of the people around here, or like that visit California, are like, you guys never really have actual seasons. You have summer and less summer.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love when I come to California. It's a great state. If I was to live in America, I would try my hardest to live in California. It's expensive, but I come from Bermuda, which is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive country in the world. So it's all relative. So if you guys don't know who Wallie Builds are, you guys are probably not really into RC because he's super popular. He does his own custom builds for different cars. His brand is Wallie Builds. He's on social media. He's busy. He's racing. He's pretty fast too, because you just came off of some good victories at the Manufacturers Cup, which was badass because that was one of the best tracks I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that track was awesome. The whole event was awesome. Kevin Jellick and Justin Wildy, they put on a great event, and yeah, everything just went right.
Yeah, it did.
Started off in practice, and things were going good then, and just kind of transferred into qualifying, and then ended up with 2 wins in the main, Truggy and Buggy.
Yep.
So super happy with that.
Yeah, I love. It's too bad more people don't go to that race because it's a really great track. I love the staggered start, how they do it. It's very different. I really enjoyed how they incorporated the oval into a big giant corkscrew to probably the best crossover I've ever seen in RC. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I was questioning it on the way out there. I was like, oh, I don't know about that one. That one looks like it's going to be pretty technical and pretty hard to do consistently. But then you get out there and you just want to – it's the only section of the track I want to keep hitting over and over and over again.
Yeah. So I met you at Silver State briefly in the I can't remember which day, but I talked to you. I said, I'd like to get you on the podcast. I've been following your Facebook lately. I saw a really awesome quote that you put on the other day that I shared, and it kind of went viral in the RC world, which I thought was awesome. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I thought it was great. But I just asked you, you're still relatively young. You're 27 years old, which is cool. I remember when I was 27, I was actually, I think I had just probably had my accident and moved on her to the DR. So yeah, life was crazy at 27. But you're busy, dude. You work for AE. You have this Wallie Builds thing on the side, and you're into motocross, and it seems like you're living your best life, man.
Yeah, it's definitely busy for sure. Yeah, it's just trying to find time to make sure that I hang out with my friends and keep a level head is another thing. But staying busy, I enjoy staying busy. It honestly keeps me out of trouble. Yes, for the most part. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Wallie Builds is going on pretty strong.
Yeah.
Work at AE is always great. It's what I get to do. I get to do my hobby every day of my life, so it makes it a lot easier to enjoy the day. Even on the worst days, it's still pretty good.
That's good. All right. Well, before we're gonna touch on that more later, but let's talk about your early beginnings. Like, how and when did you get into RC? Pretty much. Okay.
I'd have to say I got into RC when I was 5. My grandfather got me into RC with I want to say it was a Tamiya Hornet. But it was actually just to kind of practice driving and kind of getting a feel for using a radio control so I can go race boats more often. But yeah, I learned on a Tamiya Hornet just to do just basically ovals in a parking lot.
Right.
And then he saw that I kind of liked the car too, so he ended up actually getting me a Traxxas Stampede back when they were still kits. Right. He built it for me and gave it to me on Christmas, and since then I've been hooked into the whole RC on the car side of things.
Right. Was you racing back then? When did you start racing?
Racing, I'd have to say, started in around 2006. So it was quite a while before I started racing cars. I want to say I was about middle school age when I started racing RC cars. I met some friends that were into it, and they're like, "Oh, I mean, it's cool to drive them around and everything, but have you ever been to a track?" And I was never even thought there was tracks for these things. And then no. So we went down to SoCal Raceway, which is also in Huntington Beach. They closed down a little bit ago, or a while ago actually. But saw the track for the first time and just knew I was like, all right, I'm in. I want to do this.
Yeah. So you started racing at SoCal Huntington Beach. I remember I've heard Smoker talk about it. Heard Joseph talk about it when he first came to SoCal. That's where he ended up going every day to practice as well. Years ago. I can't remember it. I have to try. I'm going to go online and see if I can find some old videos of it and whatnot, YouTube it and whatnot. But during all this time, you was boat racing, which I find is pretty amazing because I used to race boats back home in Bermuda. What type of boats were you racing?
So my grandpa was super into the boats. That was like his bread and butter. That's what he did all the time. So I raced a couple different classes. I started with when I was 5, I was only racing in the rookie class, just kind of getting a feel for everything. But then I started winning a lot more in that class, and then I got bumped out. And then my grandpa ended up building me a catamaran to get kind of started. It was kind of a stock class.
Right. Was it nitro or gasoline?
These are gasoline, so the big Zenoa engine.
Yeah, you was using in this time the 24 cc's and stuff. I remember because this is what I used to run.
I think I was in 26 cc's.
Right. Yeah.
The Zenoa G260s, I believe they were called. And then I started going on with that. My grandpa wanted to race every weekend, so I had nothing else. Like I was in school, but I was able to, my parents let me take off weekends to go to all the way around. I went down to Oregon, Vegas. Actually, I went to Vegas more often when I was a kid than I do now.
Yeah.
But started racing that. Started racing G1 Sport Hydro and GX Sport Hydro, and
that's like
those are pretty fun.
Those are the nitro ones, like the twin nitros and stuff like that.
No, this is all in the gas class. So I didn't really get to do too much of the nitro. Mm-hmm. My grandpa usually just kept us in me and my brother actually, because he raced as well. Right. He kept us on the gas side of things, and he raced the nitro. So like the scale, where it was like an old, like a replica of an older hydroplane that used to run back in the day, or to a modern one. Okay.
Yeah, we used to. It's actually more organized now in Bermuda. We used to, man, this one guy had this twin 100 rigger. Oh man, that is probably the fastest. That thing was so fast. It was just skipping around it, and they handled so good. I used to have my first boat was an Aeromarine Cat. I'll never forget. And I had a 35cc quick draw in it. And yeah, that was good stuff, man. Those quick draw motors are still pretty fast and whatnot. I know they had some 25cc's. A lot of people don't know, but in boats, it's all about prop, man.
Oh yeah, it's definitely all about prop. I remember I didn't quite understand it because I was a lot younger and I didn't really get it. I was just told, drive the boat and try and win.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand everything. They just said, all right, send it here, try this, go run it. And then they would ask me what I thought and how I felt. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like, it goes fast.
Back in my time, we used to get props done by Andy Brown, right? I don't know if you know him, but he was like the man. And you would be on like a 2-month waiting list to get a prop done. So he'd be like, okay, what type of boat are you running? What type of motor? We had all salt water. And those things would cost like $200. I remember I got one. I waited all this time, and then my flex broke and I lost it. I spent 2 days out there snorkeling looking for that thing, and I found it.
So, you found it?
Yeah, because it was not that deep of water. But it was in sand. It was like kind of rocky, so I just snorkeled all around and found it eventually. So it was good stuff. But yeah, boats are awesome. Do you still do any boat racing at all?
No, I mean, I still have a lot of friends that I met that I still talk to every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, do you know Russ Stark by chance?
No, I don't.
He's like one of the guys that kind of works with NAMBA and the whole the NAMBA 19 side. It's kind of like their governing body, I guess you would call it. Right. And I talk to him every once in a while, and I kind of want to get into the offshore class because I mean it's more.
Bad. It's nice.
It's more kind of left and right with similar with the cars. Yeah. So I feel like it would be a nice kind of transition back into it. Mm-hmm. So that's still on my mind. I still plan on doing that. I'm gonna probably go out to a couple races they have here at the local lake when they come up.
And they're scale looking. They started it a few years ago. It's called Bomba in Bermuda, and it's offshore, and it's all your boats have to be a certain length. They have to look scale. I love it. They're not fast, but they look good out there, and it's racing, and they race in the ocean. So out there and like chop and everything else. I think if I was to get back into boats, that's what I would race. I'm not too worried about going fast. I'm worried about, yes, going fast is fun. I just want to race. And you don't need to go fast to race.
A good race is always, I think a good race is always better than going fast.
Yeah.
If you have a nice competitive race and it's coming down to the wire, that's pretty cool to me.
Good stuff. All right, well, enough about boats because this is all about 8-scale nitro and off-road. So you started racing in SoCal. When did you start like taking racing a little bit serious? Like when you got into it, when did you start saying, okay, this is something I like and I want to do? When did that happen?
That actually happened a lot later. It's probably 2009 is when I kind of was like, all right, I think this is something that I'm going to take seriously and actually try and pursue a job in. And then that'll lead into my first job at OCRC, but that's basically where I started taking it serious is when I got to OCRC. OCRC opened up, and it was close to my house, and any spare moment that I had, I was there driving, trying to get better, always working on the car, doing everything that I could to make sure that I could win at a local level at first.
Right. So this is when you're developing your mechanical skills as well?
Correct. Yeah, I would spend, I'd say, at least 4 to 5 hours a day at the track. It would be get home from school, do the homework, and then as soon as that was done, off to the track.
Yeah.
Spend as much time as I could to understand it, just know everything that I needed to know to make myself have a good advancement in the industry.
Mm-hmm. So you're rubbing shoulders, because, I mean, everybody goes to OCRC, because that's like the mecca for 10 scale in SoCal, in California. So you get to rub shoulders with everybody. You get to learn a lot. Who were some of the early people that influenced you coming into OCRC and whatnot?
So, I would say that it started back at SoCal. Well, some of the last couple months there. One of the local fast kids, also another motocross rider, Charles Pearson, he showed, like, when I saw him whip an RC car for the first time, I was like, I didn't care about racing for a little bit. I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn how to do that. I want to do that so bad.
Yeah.
But he took me under his wing and kind of showed me what I was doing wrong when I was assembling the cars, and kind of just fixed everything that I was messing up, and then explained why it needs to be done this way and what happens there. He was the first one that actually showed me tire sauce, and I was like, what do you put on the tires? But then I drove it, and I was like, okay, I get it now. That works really well.
Mm-hmm.
But then moving on to OCRC, Chris Giroux was one of the guys that helped me out a lot in the beginning. I would see Brent Thelke all the time. They would all come by to test and do Wednesday night club racing. And then after a while of them coming, I started running in the 4-wheel drive class. And there was one qualifier that, and this is like when I was still young, so I was still kind of getting it, trying to figure it all out.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a B44. I was running a 13.5 motor in it. And Cavalieri had showed up to practice, I think it was before one of the Surf City Classics, like maybe the first or second one. And they were all running and signed up for the 4-wheel drive class with him, just running my 13.5. He was running modified. And I led 90% of that race and actually ended up winning that heat. So I caught Cavalieri, passed him, and won the heat. And that was then that kind of opened the eyes to everybody. And then I got a lot more help.
What did Cav say to you when you done that?
What's that?
What did Cav say when you done that?
He wasn't too excited, but he was kind of like, how did that just happen?
I'm sure. Because that's like his home track too, you know?
Yeah, it's the
he
home
doesn't
track.
live far from there.
The local kid with a 13.5 4-wheel just beat you. It wasn't a big margin, but it was enough to say I beat him.
That's the dream, though, you know? That's it right there. That's the pressure these pro guys at every time they go to a track, like not to get beaten by the local fast guy. So,
right.
But that's awesome because that kind of opened eyes, and what did that lead to?
I mean, that led to a lot. I got a lot of help. Brent started helping me out a lot more. After Cav had kind of seen that, I kind of became a little more became friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're pretty good friends now. But yeah, a lot of that just helped just jumpstart what I have now. Brent definitely helped a lot. And even the Nick Black and Robert Black from OCRC, they have a huge hand into where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys obviously gave me my first job at OCRC. But another thing is, like, they already kind of been, like, Nick had already been through everything that I've been through. So
right.
like, he knew. He's kind of like an older brother.
Okay.
And just kind of guided me. He's like, hey, you don't really want to do that. You don't want to get into that. You should probably stay and focus on this. And just kind of kept me on the right path. And just kind of looked out for me as a brother.
So when did you start working for OCRC, and what was your job there?
I started working for OC in the middle of 2008.
Okay.
It was right when they opened, and I got hired just to do the generic sweep the floors, keep the place clean, kind of like a janitor, but a little bit more, where I was stocking the fridge and helping out at the front counter every once in a while. And then I was a paid turn marshal for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember those days.
Well, that's how you probably had to support your racing too.
Yeah, that definitely helped support my racing, because at that time, my parents were kind of exhausted with the cost of racing in and out and trying to keep the car fresh. So they basically told me that I needed to start paying for it myself.
Right.
And then, along with working at OCRC and getting a check, I also got a discount in the shop, so that also helps as well.
So what did you move up? No, a lot of people, they always want to start at the top. I always say this: you have to walk before you can run. You have to crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run. So did you, like, eventually? How long did you work at OCRC, and did you just move up the ladder as you was there?
Yeah, I ended up being there for about 4 years. I'd say my first year and a half, I was just kind of like the shop, like the cleanup guy, and just kind of doing all of the work that nobody really wants to do.
Right.
And then there was a big split in the hobby shop, because originally the hobby shop at OCRC was run by a different hobby store called Gyro Hobbies, and OCRC just ran the track. So there's two separate businesses in there. And then Gyro Hobbies actually started to go out of business and started having trouble. So Robert and Nick ended up buying the shop from them,
mm-hmm.
and then started filling it with employees in there. So basically it became OCRC as one whole building.
Okay.
The guy that ran the shop, he was leaving to go work for HPI. And RB and Nick said, you know what, we trust you with what you, like, we trust your work ethic. We trust how you handle everybody. You have great customer service. We'll let you run the shop. How's that sound? I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm doing it.
How old were you?
At that point, I was, I'd say 17 or 18.
Okay, so you were still in school then, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, still in school, just about to finish school. Yeah, so I ran the shop for about a year and a half. And then I started getting closer to the associated guys.
Right.
And one of the guys at that point was leaving. He's like, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to move up to Reno. So if you want, you can take my spot that I have there. Just go in there for an interview. They'll talk to you. And you should be able to get it. It shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Was you nervous going into the interview and all that? Was you like, man, was this like, this is what I want to do? What was you, like, did you get it right away and whatnot?
I actually ended up getting it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was definitely nervous because prior to this, I hadn't done an actual interview ever.
Right.
The OCRC one came pretty easy. I just walked in one day after the beach because I was by my house and just said, hey, is Robert here? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's right over there. So I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job, and do you have anything open? I mean, I'm really into the RC stuff, so like, is there anything you can do? He's like, you want a job? Start tomorrow. So I pretty much just started like right away without even an interview. Just kind of asked the question, and it happened.
Got you.
So going into associated, where it's more of like a more corporate style, that was a little intimidating. I wasn't ready for that. But
who interviewed you?
Actually, Tracy Howard and Brad Geck.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine how that would be intimidating. That's cool. Brad Gack's a cool guy. Very nice
yeah,
guy.
he's definitely a cool guy. Once I got in there, it kind of, the pressure was kind of off. It seemed like it kind of went away a little bit, and I just realized how relaxed the whole AE crew was. And then everything just kind of flowed, and I was just like, all right, I like where I'm at. I like how this is going, and I hope I get this job. And then it was about, I'd say a week later, I got a call back from Tracy. Said, when can you start? And then that's when I landed the customer service job over there.
Okay, so customer service, you're just dealing with people on the phone, or because they don't really, or just dealing with clients and whatnot, or just dealing with people that had issues with their AE cars. Explain that so people have a better idea of what you was actually doing.
So when I first started there, it was a lot of basically answering the phone. So if someone had a problem with their ready to run car or just needed troubleshooting advice, they would call in and I'd answer the questions. And then we had all the emails that we'd have to go through each day. So a lot of it was just helping out and taking some heat sometimes because people can be angry at times.
That's not an easy job at all. Trying to explain to people how to do things on the phone is not easy at all. I know.
No. It's definitely pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes people knew what they were doing. They had an idea.
Right.
They just got stuck. But then there was people that just they got like a car, like an uncle got a car for their kid for Christmas, and they're trying to figure it out, but they can't figure it out. And then you start using terminology they're not familiar with, and that throws them off as well. So another thing was just trying to figure out terminology that they could understand, so that everything made sense to them, and you could relay the message you're trying to get to them.
And then you get the people that, I've been in this for 25 years. I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me what I'm doing. And then why are you asking me then?
Oh, yeah.
Those
ones are fun.
I know. I get all of that, man. So it's no big deal. I understand how that works. So your customer service, I guess that's where you kind of cut your teeth and learn how to do things, I guess, as well. Well, you did that at the hobby shop before, but now you're doing it, like we said, behind the phone and behind behind a keyboard. How long is that your job currently now, or have you moved on up?
No, I've actually moved up quite a few times.
Okay.
So it was about a year and a half, and Tracy has been my boss was my boss for like the first I'd say about 4 years. She liked what I was doing. She saw that I had a great work ethic, and I was always pushing to do better. And she's like, you know what? I think we should reward you with something. So I think what we want to do is put you in a sales position. And then basically you won't have to answer phones from customers anymore, but you'll be contacting dealers on a daily basis.
Right.
And I was all for it.
Okay.
And then she also added that you'll be traveling a lot. So like for about a week out of the month for 1 year, I travel all around the U.S. and Canada, just visiting shops, doing races, and honestly, probably one of the funnest years that I've actually had there.
Oh yeah, being on the road is fun, man. It's tiresome, but when you're young, you don't have any family, anything. It's wonderful. Yeah,
you can I just like experiencing new things and meeting new people. Meeting new people has probably been one of the most fun things one of the things that I appreciate the most about this hobby.
Yes.
Is that it seems like everywhere I go, I can always meet someone, make new friends, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I can wake up every morning, I turn on my phone. I could be conversating with somebody from Asia, from Europe, from America, from South America. I might be speaking to somebody in Spanish, speaking to this person in English, So I get that, man. I've met so many good people in my time in RC, and even before I started working in RC. So it's something we fail. We kind of don't really realize until you put it all into perspective. Meeting cool people from around the world, or people that are into the same thing that you're into. So it's awesome, man.
Yeah, I really like it. It's been one of the best things. I mean, even with the social media, you can meet all kinds of people and talk to them. I mean, I talk to people all around the world. I didn't think that would ever happen, but getting into it and people asking me questions about their car setup and stuff like that from all over the world, Australia, England, Asia. It's actually been pretty awesome.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's cool.
Wouldn't have it any other way at this point.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's kind of like my life. Maybe not as in the scale of you as you, but I know how it is. I know exactly how it is. All right, so you went to sales and then you traveled for a year. Which was the favorite track to travel to at that time, or favorite place to travel?
I went to Florida. Florida was a pretty fun time.
Yeah, except in the summertime, and it's like 100 degrees and 100% humidity. But yeah, go.
That was a little hard to get used to at first, but once you kind of got it, it was bearable.
Yes.
Canada was pretty fun. Canada people have been the nicest people I've ever met. I know everyone says that, but it's actually probably the truest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Most of the times when I was talking with like shop owners or just different people within the industry, you talk to them for a couple minutes and they kind of send you on your way and everything. Not like a bad way or anything, but they don't really talk too much.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say every store that I visited in Canada was at least a 2.5 hour conversation.
Oh yeah, I could imagine.
They appreciate everything that you're doing. They just want to keep you there and they want to talk to you more. You just feel super welcomed up in those shop areas.
Yeah, I guess they don't. I think for them, I speak to a few guys from Canada on the JQ team, and I've met a few guys from Canada. I've traveled to Canada quite a lot myself. I guess they don't get the visitors up there that much, so I guess it's cool. Like, get a guy from AE to come up there and talk to him. It's always great, man. What's this all about? That's what I always tease my Canadian mates, how they talk. So I'm a Trailer Park fan, so Trailer Park Boy fan. So
yeah, the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Love that show.
That show's so funny.
I know. So you're traveling around. You do that for a year. What's next?
So after that, around the same time is when I started the whole Wallie builds thing. Mm-hmm. And actually, it was a huge benefit. It definitely kind of jump-started another avenue of my life. But at the same time, there was a conflict of interest going on. As I started to develop more parts for the Wallie build stuff, like one of the biggest things that kind of put Wallie builds on the map was the SC5M front sway bar kit, because before then there wasn't really any sway bars for short course trucks.
Right.
And then I designed one, just kind of fit it on my truck, and then realized, you know what, this thing helps a lot. I'm going to try and sell this thing. I'll sell it through Wallie builds. And I would have to say I sold maybe 300 to 400 packages of that thing.
Wow.
And then AE kind of caught onto that, and they're like, hey, man, you can't really be doing that. It's kind of a conflict of interest. And I explained it. I'm like, well, I mean, there's a lot that went on back and forth with that, which ended up resulting in me not being able to have my own products, and I could still do the builds,
right? But
I had to dumb down quite a bit, and it kind of dampened the Wallie builds thing for a bit, and kind of slowed it down quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I remember those sway bar kits too, because I was thinking of getting one for my SC5 at one point. Yeah,
one of the coolest things was seeing Cav dominate one of the EOS rounds with a T5M with the Wallie builds sway bar kit on it.
Awesome.
That was probably one of the coolest things I've seen. It's like, to come from really not being anyone and then having that happen is just like, all right. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of. I could imagine that, man. I could definitely imagine. It's like if I see somebody with a No Name RC podcast sticker on their car. Ronald had one at DNC. I was happy to see that.
That's rad.
Yeah, that's cool. So you had a little bit of conflict of interest, which I understand. I understand both sides of that. You work for AE. I'm glad you guys kind of worked it out. And Wallie Build still exists. So obviously.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. You go ahead, man.
So we ended up talking it out and kind of getting it to where I would just focus more on the builds and have a few maybe more services, not actual products.
Okay.
And in return, they would bump me up into an R&D position to where I am now. So right now, I am one of the project coordinators for the Ready to Run side of things. And that's honestly, it's been a whole different world because I'm not used to that side of the industry. More always been geared to racing and kind of catering to what racers want and knowing that. But now having to like switch gears, not focus on racing in a handling car, but a car that's gonna be durable, fast, and cool.
Right.
So it's been a learning curve, but definitely started to work it out in the last year and a half. So
what does
cool
that
stuff should be coming.
What does your job entitle? Like, I guess what would a day be like in your work day when you go to AE? If you can talk about it.
I can do a pretty generic kind
Right.
of like an idea of it, but it's basically a little bit of SolidWorks to do finalizing stuff and build some models. But the most is going to be talking with vendors and getting like bill of materials and basically doing all the back work for the car. So like once the car is done, you have to get all this stuff together so that it's all organized and you can send it off as a package, and then to make sure that everything is good to go when it arrives back here.
Okay. All right. Have you been now? I didn't hear you say anything about it, but did you go to school after college or anything after high school, or did you just go right out into the workforce?
I attempted to go to college.
Right.
I don't know if I have ADD or not, but I definitely had a struggle to stay focused in college. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is that when I'm being taught something for a grade and I'm not actually like focused on learning it,
Right.
I can't learn it. But if I'm out there, okay, I need to get this done or it's not going to happen, and I kind of get put into like a kind of like it has to happen or it's not going or it's going to be a fail.
Right. I get it.
Then I can kind of do it and learn it. I learn it real quick, and that's when I retain it.
You know.
But if I'm being told you need to know this, you need to know this, you need to know this, and you have to do it this way, and you're going to do a grade and you get tested on it, I lose interest real quick.
You know, man, if you don't want to go to, I tell people, like, education is important. Yes, I never went to college. Out of high school, I've been working ever since 16. If you don't want to go to school, college after that, that's fine too. Hey, there's lots of successful people in this world who didn't go to college. And there's lots and millions of people that have gone to college that aren't successful. So, you know, it seems like it's working out for you, dude. So that's all right. Not saying that people shouldn't go to school, but, you know, if you don't want to go, don't go.
Yeah, you definitely got to kind of have your plan set. If you don't really know what you're going to go through, if you don't know what you're going to college for, you're really just going to spin your wheels and kind of waste a bunch of money. And I didn't want to do that. I was kind of bouncing back and forth between like a graphic design and then like a mechanical engineer. So I was kind of going back and forth between those two things. And every time I get into the classroom, I just would get burnt out trying to like stay focused and get ready to be tested and graded. And then once I kind of got the option to kind of learn on my own, I learned a lot of things that I missed really quick, and now I actually enjoy both of those a lot more. So
that's great, man.
Teaching myself has been the thing that works for me the best.
Hey, it seems to be working for you, man. You're doing good. You're in a good position. You started from sweeping floors at OCRC, and now you're working in R&D at AE. So, and you have your own business, and you're racing and enjoying living your best life. So, it's working out for you so far, man. Don't.
Yeah, so far,
yeah,
it's been awesome.
All right, so let's talk more about how Wallie Builds kind of started. I'm interested because, man, I want to know what goes through your brain when you see a car, because some of the wiring and stuff you do in these cars, I could not do that. I mean, I don't know if I just don't have the vision for that type of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'll just stuff it in her. It works. So how did that come about? Like, you have some really great mechanical skills. That's for sure.
Thank you. And honestly, the whole thing started from Instagram. Instagram, social media is basically the reason I got started.
Okay.
It started out as just my regular page. I would just post what I was doing. I always had a knack for kind of like very organized and clean cars. So from when I started, I was like, all right, I need to do this clean. I want to hide this wire. I think I could put that behind there. And if I put it behind there, I can run it around this backside and you won't see anything. And it'll look awesome. Mm-hmm. Always had a knack for that. And then I started posting photos of that on social media, and people were just kind of catching on. Like, wow, he's doing really well. This looks really awesome. I wish my car looked like that.
Yeah.
And then I I think it was like one or two people. It was like, hey, like if I send you my car, can you wire it up for me?
Really?
And I was like, yeah, of course, I'll do that. How much you gonna charge? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to do it.
Yeah.
Just send me the stuff and I'll do it for you.
When did it
And
start
then-
transferring from just send me stuff, I'm going to do it for you, to, okay, it's going to cost you this much? Because time is valuable, man. And people have to, I believe that time costs money.
Yeah, definitely learned that over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Time is super valuable. I wish I had more of it. Honestly, I was telling Brent the other day, I was like, I wish I had 30-hour days.
Yeah?
But at one point, I was kind of in like, I mean, I wasn't always the smartest kid when it came to cars, like real cars.
Right.
Had a couple accidents, had multiple speeding tickets. Ended up rolling and totaling my Mazda Speed 3 in the canyons one night. And with all of that, I racked up some pretty good size tickets, insurance bills, and all kinds of stuff.
So you needed to make some money. That's what you're trying to say.
So basically, I needed to make some extra cash. And
There we go.
And I was seeing that people were offering me money still to do their cars, and I was like, all right, I think I can do this. So I actually, originally, I started it probably 2 years before Wallie Builds actually got going. But I called it like Race Prep Industries was my first idea. And I think I did 4 cars the entire year. And then I was like, all right,
This isn't going to cut
this
it.
isn't going to go anywhere, so I'm done with it. Just let it fall off the side.
Right.
And then I got into an even worse spot with money, and I was like, all right, I really need to try this. I need to actually put all the effort into it and make it happen. So I changed the name from Race Prep Industries to Wallie Builds. And I don't know if it just sounded better because it was more, it kind of had like a catchy name to it, but it just started to blow up like that. Like I started posting I just started building or posting all my builds that were just my cars. And it just started growing and growing and growing. And then eventually I was just building cars. So I was charging, there's like 30 or 40 bucks to wire cars, 75 to rebuild them, and then like 100 and 125 to do a full build for like a 10 scale buggy.
Mm-hmm. That's a brand new build, or like do you get people sending cars in to be rebuilt, or just pretty much brand new cars?
I did both. So
Okay.
I did rebuilt cars. It was always at that time I was just charging the fee to build the cars.
Mhm.
Whatever parts the car needed, you had to pay for and either send to me, or I would add it to the total and then just get it myself. But yeah, once that started, I kind of got a little overwhelmed. I think the most kits I've had at one time was 15.
Okay.
And it was just like, okay, I gotta change some stuff here. So that's when I started raising the prices. I started talking to my friends and like, yeah, you're spending a lot of time on these builds and you're not really getting much out of it, and you already you're always behind. So you need to kind of raise your prices and kind of just kind of feel it out and see where it goes.
Right.
And then that was going great. I was making good money on the side. Always it was helping me stay afloat. I was paying off a lot of my debts and just kind of catching up to where I thought I should have been.
Right.
And then it was always kind of just kept going. It never really fell off. It just kind of stayed steady. And then one of my other buddies came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I think you have something here that you could actually like run with, and maybe actually start it as a whole store and do good with this." And I'm like, "Yeah, like, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I'm only just doing builds. I'm just making cash. There's not really any structure to it. It's just kind of send me your car and I'll build your car."
Right.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I have an idea that you might want to try." And I'm like, "All right. Offer a whole package, just completely ready to go, so that all they have to do is order something, and then they get a fully built car ready to race at their door." And then I was like, "Okay, I'll start that, but I mean, I don't really have any accounts. There's no real business here, so it's not gonna be easy to get like a discount and kind of make that happen. It'll basically be full price. for
Right.
everything, and then on top of that, then it's gonna be more expensive. He's like, well, why don't you try and make it a business then? Just go apply for a business license, and you can get all those things.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I was like, I
Yeah.
have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, I've never done it. I didn't go to school for this. I have no idea how to do this. But Google and YouTube is your friend.
No, I know, dude. You don't have to tell me.
So I Googled it, just trying to figure out, like, hey, looking to start a business in California. What are the steps I need to take? It like gives you the full breakdown of everything you need to have. So I filled all of the paperwork, sent it all in like 2 weeks I had a business license and a seller's permit. And then from there, I got all the accounts that I needed. I had some help from some friends that worked in the different distributors.
Right.
I know it's a little bit more difficult to do when you're not actually a brick and mortar store.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also a struggle at first, but was able to make it happen. And then from there, we started with the first works package of like, I believe it was a B6. B6D was the first car that we built into a package.
That's like the stock one that I think I saw.
That was the original B6 that came out.
Okay. But I saw one that you had like it's just a stock racing, like it was a B6 for stock racing, like it had everything done that you could use to go like just drop in your radio gear and ready to race. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that actually came a little bit later when the B6.1s came out.
Okay.
But the original car was just, I basically take all the packages and I base them off of the cars that I would run. So if it's got this hop up, this and that hop up, and these electronics and that kind of thing in it, that's what I was going to put in the package.
Okay.
So people were people were good with that. It was pretty easy. It sold pretty well, honestly.
Yeah. How many? How much did that cost back in the day?
I want to say the first ones were, I think it was like $10.99 for the full ready to go buggy.
But that's
tires, body, everything but a radio.
Okay, but that's even a painted body or
yeah.
Wow.
I always offer a one color body with the build, no matter what. But if you want to do a custom one, we send it over to my painter, Sharkbait Design Works, and he takes care of that.
So that was what, mod and stock? Because I know, like, I'm not gonna be honest, I'm not the most knowledgeable about stock racing. I've never done it, but I know a lot of people go really deep into that. So, and I know like a lot of people spend a lot of money on stock too. So was that just for a stock and a mod car, or how did that work?
Yeah, at that time it was more just an either or. So it was stock or mod. It didn't really have any specific stock parts. It didn't really have any specific mod parts. It's just at that time, here's the car that I'm running. What motor do you want to put into it? So it wasn't really specific to either one, but it worked for both of them.
Okay. But you just offered ready to race vehicles.
Correct.
Cool. Got you.
So they come fully built, like exactly how I build my car, with the full wiring that I would do to my car. Everything perfect and as neat and tidy as possible.
Okay. Do you offer customization too? Like if somebody wants, like, I don't know, maybe, yeah, you do, because I saw it on your latest build with the like engraving and stuff like that. Do you offer that as well, right? Chassis engraving and stuff?
Yeah, that's actually something I started doing with Moto Whips. He does. When I met him, he kind of explained to me what he was doing in his business, and I was like, wow, that sounds pretty familiar. But he basically does the exact same thing that I do.
Right.
For motocross.
Oh, okay. That's good stuff. Yeah.
So it was kind of like we became friends like instantly after that. Like, like, oh, dude, you do this, I do that. He's trying to get into RC. I was trying to get into motocross, and it was kind of like everything just worked out.
There you go. That's how life, man, life isn't okay. Yes, you need to know something in life, but life, I've found, I'm 41 years old here soon. Life is more about who you know, more than what you know. So I'm always trying to make new connections and get to know people. You never know, man, when you might be able to do some business with somebody. That's cool. Moto Whips. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't really know who he is, but if he's doing stuff like what you do for motocross, then he's got to be building some badass bikes. So you're doing.
He's got some pretty cool projects coming up. So I would definitely give him a follow on Instagram, and check out what he's got going on.
Yeah. So you started offering the full kits, and then how did that take off for business wise?
That actually went over pretty well. I
Yeah.
didn't think it was going to, 'cause I always thought that people would be scared by the price tag, but that was definitely not the case.
Yeah.
They sold pretty well, and it kind of like it honestly tripled what I was making
Really?
from what I started out with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, this is getting even closer now to being on its own. And then just started advancing. I was like, all right, so now people want specific builds. They want custom stuff. They always want. Everyone started realizing I couldn't just have one build for everybody, because everybody wants something different. So then it was a little bit more tedious, but I started doing full personal builds. So instead of having to order something from the website, you would just email me and tell me exactly what you want, what brand of like hop-up parts you wanted, and then I would just build up a whole package for you, and it'd be specific to what you were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I was surprised at how much some of these things cost.
Yeah, but people trick the cars out, man. It's something that people like to do. That's why there's a big aftermarket business in RC. You know,
Definitely.
especially in 10 scale. Not okay, it's in 8 scale, yes, but not as much. You know, so you doing that must take a lot of time. Like, you got to give them an estimate. Like, okay, this is gonna cost all of this, and then you order the parts, and then just do it all yourself. And I think people. We're in a time we ranted about this on my last podcast, how people are, well, and I actually had a discussion with a guy about this today, where time costs money. I guess people just want things to be done easier, you know, so, and done great. If you can make life easier and it's professional looking, better than what I can do it, then I'll be willing to pay for it, you know. And that's what I think we've come down to in life, period, not just RC. So you found a nice little niche there in personalized cars. People's going to pay for it. People don't have time. Sometimes you just want to drop the receiver there and go, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, most of the people that come to me for builds either don't have the time, they're too busy with their full-time job, but they just want to race on the weekends,
Right.
or they just don't have mechanical experience and they don't really know what to do. So they just come to me like, hey, I just want all this done. I want it to look like this. Just bill me at the end of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's always
those are my
nice.
favorite customers.
Yeah. So, this is moving along now. You're still doing this while you're working at AE. How many cars do you do it? First question. How many cars do you do a week now, roughly?
I'd say it's kind of slowed down, but it's more even now. I'd say I do about 5 to 6 a month.
Okay.
But those are full complete builds, and then there's always the wire jobs in between.
Right.
I'm also selling now. I've kind of opened it up to a store.
Right.
Or I haven't actually. I don't do any of my own products.
Right.
It's more of a store where I sell like the fast race caps and fast race products, and then like also Randy Castor from One Up Racing. He's a good friend of mine, so I sell his stuff on the website, and it's growing.
Yes.
It's a whole new animal to learn,
right?
Because you want to have a stock shop on the website, but you also have to realize that costs money.
Yes, and it's funny you say how you didn't know how to do anything, and Google and YouTube is your friend. When I started this whole podcast thing, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I had a few guys that were into it, like Joe Zaire and a couple other guys, Aiden Burke. They kind of helped me and gave me some knowledge, but YouTube and Google, I was like, man, I spent countless hours watching video, learning this. I'm still learning I'm trying to learn how to use my PC instead of my Mac now to do this, and always trying to master something different. Like, I look back, like, I guess you too, you can look back and say, man, I was scared of doing that. And now look, I do the same thing. Like, I can look back on maybe like some of my first episodes where I was really nervous and the audio was bad, and now it's like doing a podcast. I enjoy them. I love them. It's like my pastime. It's my passion, and it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. So I get that whole Google and YouTube, man. It's helped me out a lot in life. If you don't know something, you'll find it on the internet.
Oh yeah, definitely. You will definitely find it on the internet because there's already someone that's gone through it already.
Yep.
Like right now, I'm I'm going through trying to figure out or relearn the Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and I do it a couple hours every night, just kind of learn, mess with some things, made some logos for some friends already. Yeah, it's just awesome. I just enjoy learning stuff. If I can do it on my own time, I'll enjoy it way more than if someone's telling me to do it.
Yeah. How long does it take you to do a build, roughly?
Depends on what it is. A two-wheel drive buggy build's I could probably have the chassis done in about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Right.
And then the electronics, I take my time on because you don't want to mess that up. But I'd say overall 4 to 5 hours is about right, about average.
You don't do that all in one sitting, though, or do you?
Sometimes I do.
Right.
It just depends on what I have scheduled for that week. So, I mean, working 9 hours a day at AE, and then trying to prep my cars for the weekend to go race nitro, and finding time to do this, you gotta balance it really good, and then try to fit the gym in there so I'm not too stagnant and unhealthy. Yeah,
I know. I used to know all about that. I haven't visited a gym in a long time. It can show. The only gym work I do is like drinking beer, so that doesn't count.
Oh, I do that a lot too.
That's pretty cool, man. You found a niche within a niche, and I don't knock anybody's hustle, man. I had Matt Olson on here previously, and he's another guy that's found a niche in a niche. I said to him, man, if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. So I can see the work that you're putting in. Do you get? I have two questions. Do you get? Do you get requests for builds from around America? Have you got any international requests? And do you do any 8-scale builds?
Yeah, they definitely have gotten some international requests.
Where's the farthest place?
I'd say the furthest place that I've done is China.
Really?
It was kind of shocking I had to like double check with him to make sure I'm like, you do understand that the shipping cost is probably gonna be more than what the service is actually gonna cost, right?
Right.
He's like, nope, I've seen your work. I want it done. So just let me know what it costs and what I gotta pay for shipping.
Wow.
Because all he wanted was a rewire at first. Just want me to rewire his car for him.
Wow.
And then I got the car and I looked at it and I messaged it. I'm like, I would recommend rebuilding this car. I can do it for you and I can get it all dialed in. He's like, whatever you need to do, you do it. Just let me know how much it costs.
Wow, he probably could have bought a car and had you build one, and it would have been cheaper than shipping it from there to. But I guess I don't know, but that's cool. How about 8 scales? You doing any 8-scale builds?
Yeah, 8-scale. I'd say 8 scales have kind of been the last 5 or 6 months.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of like noticing more of a trend. It's almost kind of getting more locked in every day, but it depends on what I'm racing more. If I'm racing 10 scale more, seeing it on the page more, people want 10 scale builds. If I move on to 8 scale, the people want 8 scale builds. Like this week, I have 2 8 scale builds coming in, along with a 4-wheel and a 2-wheel that have just arrived, I believe, today.
Right.
So I got to get on those here soon. But yeah, it's social media definitely leads the way on what kind of going on for the next month.
Yeah. I've noticed that you've been way more active in nitro in the last few months myself. That's kind of where I really took notice. I mean, I always took notice, but I'm more of a nitro guy, so I've seen you've been racing a lot more. What brought that up? You just got the nitro bug all of a sudden again?
I mean, it's kind of hard to go back. I mean, well, I used to go back and forth. So I run 10 scale and 8 scale, and trying to do 10 scale, 8 scale, my day job at AE, Wallie builds at night, fit some kind of social life in between all that was just getting too difficult, and then everything was kind of suffering. I was kind of slacking on the Wallie builds. I mean, I was okay at work, but I know I could be better. And then both trying to race 2 totally different things.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, one, I was getting burnt out.
Yeah, of course.
I can't hang on to this anymore. Like, I don't see my friends anymore. I don't do anything. I just do this. So then it actually kind of like led into the end of the year last year where I struggled. I wasn't say depressed, but I was definitely not myself. I didn't want to do anything. I'd rather be alone all the time. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was kind of angry most of the time. And then there was a post I did. It was probably around November, and I was like, I was supposed to go to a race. I was already signed up. I was ready to go. It's out the door, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to this race. I know I said I was going to, but I can't right now. I got to find myself. I kind of lost it. I just need to kind of do a reset. So I took a good month and a half of racing off. Didn't do any racing. Just focused on riding my dirt bike and getting out there and kind of just this, not having to live this rushed life for a little bit. And then once I kind of reset, kind of realized what I needed to do, I came out of there and I was like, all right, I need to drop at least one thing out of here. So I think I'm going to drop the 10 scale racing for a while and then just focus on the 8 scale, do some local races that are around here, and then just mainly just focus on the work. Go back to
basics.
Back to the basics. So back to Wallie builds and back to AE, and just keep those going, right? Yep. And then another big thing, as much as I like social media and how useful it is,
it gets draining.
Turning your notifications off will help you tremendously.
Oh, dude, that is everything you just said to me. I've been through, and I go through it on different times. When people say to me, "Oh, I want to work in the RC industry," and I'm like, "Be careful what you wish for." Really do. I mean, I guess I would say I'm working in the industry. I'm obviously not as deep as you, but I am knee deep in RC stuff, not physically, but like visually every day. Internet, Facebook, Instagram, dealing with customers, dealing with this podcast. I don't race anymore because, well, we don't have a tracker, and I've been going to races, and I just couldn't, like, my job is not to race. It's my job to make sure everybody's happy and everybody has what they need. So I couldn't do both. But I fully understand how you get burnt out. When you do this, I like to say to people, when you work in the candy shop, the candy isn't so sweet. So sometimes you have to do a reset. And I'm struggling with that whole turning my notifications off as well, because I have a family and I need to figure out, okay, if I'm going to work from this time to this time. And then this time's for my family. Even though I work at home, some days I don't see my family because I'm on my phone all the time. So I fully understand how you get burnt out. And you was racing 2 classes. Yes, you love it, but there's other things to life than RC. So I totally understand how you get burnt out, man. Totally.
Yeah, you basically see the same thing over and over and over again. And then with that combination of just being tired and worn out all the time, it just starts to run a toll on you. I mean, I'm not saying it's the RC industry on its own.
No.
I mean, I'm sure if you did any other type of industry and you did it the amount that we do it here, you'll have the same feeling.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens in the motocross industry. I know a lot of people that actually say, I'm so over going to supercross races, and I'm like,
it gets so normal. Yeah, because you don't work in it. Yeah, I get it, man.
But the other thing that kind of helped mainly was adding set hours for the Wallie build stuff. I don't try to work myself anymore because when you have limited time, you feel like you need to get a lot done in that time. So another thing that added to the whole stress thing was working from when I got home from work at 5:30 till 1 in the morning, and then getting back up at 5:30 in the morning to go back to work.
Yeah, that will kill you, man.
So that cycle, Monday through Friday, it's rough. It's brutal.
Of course. It'll kill you, man. You're young. You got to enjoy life too. You know, not saying just when young people but you got to enjoy life. You can't work. Yes, working is important. Working hard, grinding towards what you want, but you have to enjoy the ride. You have to enjoy the journey. So, you have to, I think that step back, that reset, I kind of have to do that myself, man. So I fully understand that 100%. But it seems like you're back. You're having fun. I saw you at Silver State. You was having a ball. You look like you was having. I wasn't there at Manufacturers Cup. You're winning. You know, you're back on social media. I'm loving the. Like, I really should have pulled up the post that you made the other day. I really should have, because it really kind of inspired me too. I was like, man, yeah, I like that. There we go. So yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, the whole reset thing it helped. Like, it was enough. It was exactly what I needed. I felt more confident with racing. I was able to focus more. I had more time for myself. I was able to get back on my dirt bike and ride it after from it sitting for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like one of the biggest things that I needed to do, and did it. And now we're coming back swinging.
Yeah, man. Do you think you can ever make Wallie builds full time? Do you foresee it, or do you just enjoy working at AE as much as doing that, as well as Wallie builds?
I enjoy both, but like everybody, I mean, I'm sure everyone can agree with this, but being your own boss is probably one of the best things you could ever be.
Yes, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's more like I always like the reward that you get from it, and then not being able to, and then making decisions without having to decide if it's going to be okay or not.
Right.
I like being able to just like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get it done and then move on. Instead of having to go through a lot of things just to get it approved and stuff like that. So for me, it is the goal. I don't know if it's realistic at this moment. It seems like it could be in the future. It just depends on how. I mean, I'm kind of deciding if it goes pretty good this year, I might attempt it. But right now, it's a
big step.
It's a pretty big step.
Yeah, it's a big step, man. But you'll do it when it's the right time, or maybe you do it when it's needed. That's how life works. Either a lot of people sit around and wait for the right time, or sometimes they're forced to do things. And it seems like a lot of talking to you, like you was forced to learn how to do your business and you're forced to do that. I can like relate to you in a lot of different ways on that. Sometimes the necessity makes you do things. So you never know what happens, man. You got something to fall back on. That's good. That's good. Yeah. You're growing. Your popularity is growing. People know who you are. I don't think you'd be short for business. You definitely, I believe, the number one build guy I know in the industry. So, and you're starting to run Nitro.
That's what I've been trying to get after too. It's like I know there's a lot of people that are starting to do build things, and I kind of noticed it as a trend started up after I started it. But now it's a battle of making sure that I do stay where I think I should be, like on the top. But yeah, you just got to keep going and keep pushing. You never want to kind of slouch because there's always going to be someone that can take that spot for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? There can be 100 different people doing builds, but if you're doing them the best, then people's going to come to you.
Right.
So, but yeah, and it takes time. That's what a lot of people don't understand is the time and effort put into to do these things. Not a lot of people's willing to do it. So they think, oh, just build a car and make money. Oh, well, I only built one car in a month. Oh, I quit. No, you got to keep on going. You got to keep on going. Yeah,
you got to keep pushing because, like I said, the first year, I only built 4 cars the whole year.
Yep. And imagine if you would have stopped. You wouldn't even, like, nobody would really know who you are outside of, you know, I mean, I'm sure people would know who you are, but not to the extent that they know you now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. Social media, because you get it. I know how important social media is. I recently got hip. I wasn't really a big Instagram fan till my buddy kept talking to me about it. And it's like, man, you got to get on Instagram. I still lack on Instagram a lot. But I'm going to be pokey. How many followers do you have on Instagram?
I think right now I'm about 6,800.
That's not bad. I was looking at Instagram accounts like Ron Falk's got 12,000. He's I would say Ron Falk's probably one of the most active besides Joseph's very active on social media, but one of the top pro guys that is active on social media. Ron Falk has about 12,000. I think Cav has about 12,000 too. I was just looking at different Instagram accounts. I know Ron Falk does all his own social media stuff as well. Because he gets it. He's one of the drivers that get it. But social media is so important. Lutz is really good on social media. I'm talking about like 8-scale drivers. Tebow gets on it. He's good on it. But I think all the rest of the drivers lack it, man. And I say this over and over again. It's important. It's an important key to anything that you're doing nowadays. Social media, having a presence, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter even. I'm not that big on Twitter. But you kind of get it, man. Wow. The more followers that you get, the more people that can see your product and the more people get to know you. You know, somebody might stumble across, hey, I think this is cool. Hey, you got a new person into RC. So, yeah, tell us about your social media stuff, man, because it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, social media is how basically the whole Wallie Builds thing started. So I know there's a huge advantage to that, and you just gotta. I mean, the best thing you can sell is yourself. So it's the easiest thing. You know the most about that, and that's what you got to focus on doing. The more of a people person you can be, I mean, I think just the more it benefits you as a. I wouldn't say like a athlete or anything, but like a public figure.
Right.
So I don't know. I do my best to do on social media. Main thing is that I've noticed is if you're gonna put out a lot, you got to be able to give a lot too. So if you're gonna put out a lot of your social media and expect likes back, you got to be fair and give it back to everybody else. I mean, one of the biggest things that I always hear is you can read the comments and just go through and see, oh, well, this guy's cool and all, but he never responds to anybody. He doesn't talk to anybody. He just posts and that's it. And that's all. So I struggle with it every once in a while. I mean, trying to respond back to everybody is difficult, but I do it as much as I can. I try to send back a little message or I try to answer all my DMs all the time. Right. And then just comment back to everybody and just show them appreciation. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people like that. They don't like just being left in the dark.
A little bit of attention goes a long way, man. That's one of my mottos, and I try to answer. I mean, my phone goes all the time, so I try to talk to everybody. I mean, at some points you have to, like, you can't talk to. It might not be the appropriate time to talk to somebody, so you have to let it go. That's my biggest issue. I think sometimes you just like, okay, I can't talk right now. You forget, and then maybe you go back a couple of days later and see, especially like on Facebook, like things get pushed down so fast. Like, oh shit, let me message this person. Like he sent me a message. So I try to get back to everybody as well, man. It's important. And I try to like as many things as possible. I try to share things as well, because I'm all about growing RC and promoting RC. I was looking at my personal Facebook page today and I was like, man, I put more stuff about RC than I do with my family. Something's got to change here, So I don't know. It's a balance, man. But I definitely think more drivers have to get into it. It's interactive. It helps promote them. I'm constantly on one of our drivers, Max Mort. He's young. I'm like, man, you got to be on this. I'm on our young drivers that drive on our team. I'm like, man, you got a whole group of people around the world that want to know what you're doing. Like that, just talk to them. Get on social media. It's not just for chatting to people, man. It's to promote you and build your brand. So it's good stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. I just wish more drivers would do it. I really do. It's important.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a key feature to being even motocross racer, athlete of any kind, or an RC racer, because all you're gonna do is just make you a more likable person. Yeah. I mean, it also could work in the other way too. I mean, you can make you a person that not many people like, but I mean, it all depends on what you're going for, I guess.
Hey, man. Either they love you or they love to hate you. Either way, they're talking about you.
Exactly.
So, I work for the one guy that probably lives by that rule. So, it's all good, man. I just wish they used it more to the key and was more to their advantage, man. I think it would help promote RC so much more. And yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. But you do a good job of it. I've been following you lately, and we talked about this. You're really big you found a niche. You're building Justin Barger's SCX short course truck right now, right?
Correct. Yep, that's the current project in the shop right now.
Oh man, how did that come about? Because you seem to know a lot of these motocross guys, and this is something I want to talk to you about.
It actually, I met Justin probably, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years ago, when he was back on the Geico Honda team, and he was out here testing for Supercross, and one of the guys at AE was like, hey, we have a Supercross rider that wants to get into RC, like, what do you think he should run, and all this. And then we ended up setting up with like I believe it was a factory team, SC10 back in the day.
Right.
We got him all built up, sent him to the track, loved it, and he was into it for, I'd say, maybe a year or two, kind of going back and forth. And then life got busy. He started taking the motocross program a lot more serious and couldn't really race anymore. So then he kind of got out of it, and then just recently, I'd say it was maybe a month ago, he messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey, bud, how you been? I haven't talked to you in for a while, but I want to get back into the RC stuff, and I have no time to build the car right now. Do you think you can build it for me?" I'm like, "Of course I can build it for you, buddy. I'll take care of that."
Yeah, that's cool. It looks badass. I like those shock shafts that you posted up yesterday. Those are nice.
Yeah, I've had those sitting around for a while, and I was like, well, I know where these are going.
That's cool.
These are definitely
cool.
going on that car. But,
How do you do any other, I want to say, motocross celebrity type builds as well?
I've done a few. I've built for Ryan Villapoto, Malcolm Stewart.
Does Mookie still race RC?
Not so much anymore. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I know he's big into fishing. So
yeah.
What MX guys do race a lot?
Villapoto was into it for a while.
Right.
When he was racing, he was at the motocross track during the day and then at the RC track at night. It was almost every time I went down to OCRC, he was there running.
Was he any good?
He actually got going really good, really fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it transfers over. I mean, you're doing basically the same thing. Throttle controls, aside from being different physically, they do the same thing. But he got into it, and then it was about the time that he was getting ready to retire, so he ended up just going out and doing a bunch of other things. So he kind of got away from the RC stuff. Every once in a while, he hits me up and says, I want to get back into it, and then it kind of dies out. But
yeah, I know
Christian Craig is probably one of the most consistent into it.
Yeah.
He loves it. He just he gets frustrated with it though. Like, he knows he can do better and he wants to push himself to be better.
Does he run 10 scale or does he run nitro?
He runs 10 scale. I've offered him an 8 scale car, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna stick with a 10 scale for right now. It's close to my house and I'll stay here.
I know
Tom. Whenever you want to run an 8 scale car,
I think Joseph had Josh Hansen. I think that's his name. Got him a JQ car. I think Tomac had a JQ car at one time too. Man, this is, we talk. All right, I think it's cool because this is the motocross crowd, not actually the racers, but the people that that are into motocross and they do ride. I honestly feel we are missing the bus and not promoting to these guys and not getting these guys into RC. They have the disposable income because they ride motocross and motocross isn't cheap. They probably get injured because, when you ride motocross, you get hurt. So that sometimes you're going to stop because you say, I can't do this no more because I got to work on Monday. So this is the next best thing you can get to motocross is racing RC off-road cars. I would say nitro, but I guess a lot of people have to start somewhere. So 10 scale is good too, or electric. What do you think, man? How do you feel about that? I have this discussion with Joseph. I have this discussion with a lot of people daily.
I think it's actually probably one of the closest things to motocross if you don't want to get hurt. Maybe not so much the 10 scale side, but definitely when you get to 8 scale, I mean, you have a track that's changing all the time. You're racing, you're hitting huge jumps, you're going fast. It's definitely an easy crossover. So I agree. I agree 100% that we need to start marketing to the motocross side of people. Maybe going to nationals or like the RCGP. I heard you say he was going to try and have a race at one of the nationals, and that would be, in my eyes, that's huge. I would be 100% down just to go to that race and support it.
Yeah.
But
I think
the motocross crowd's huge, and
man.
everyone likes it, and it crosses over. They can relate to it. I mean, you have your supercross stars that show into the track, so if you go to the track, you can have a chance of seeing those guys. I think it's one of those things that go hand in hand. I mean, a lot of the supercross riders will, if they do get injured, they'll go back and they'll hang out at the RC track and have fun that way, get their racing in for the day, and kind of like just something to do when they're hurt.
Yeah, because it's competitive, man. People don't understand it. You may not physically be on the vehicle, but it's still racing. It gets your blood. It still gets that same adrenaline rush that you want like it's competition, it's racing, you know?
Yeah.
I definitely think we have to do that. And not just like people would say, well, Traxxas goes to this and does that. No, I'm not talking about going out there and bashing. I'm talking about going out there, showing people, hey, Ryan Mayfield and David Runafalk, Robert Badier and all these guys, the best of our, you know, yes, we have the RC, like the other class as well, but showing off the best of our industry to thousands of people, you know, that would be probably, and that's the thing, they don't know that it exists. They don't even know that it exists. I know for a fact that people don't know what we do. And that's one of my other big pet peeves, because we don't promote to other people. We just kind of, you know, I always say we treat RC like it's an underground dogfighting ring. We try to hide it. We don't want people to know about it. I have seen a few races that have catered to spectators. Manufacturers Cup way back in 2006, 2007, 2008. They did it. It was spectators and everything was great. But we definitely need to cater. We need to get these people. We need to show people what we're doing, man. We honestly do. Because it's still cheaper than motocross.
Yeah.
By far.
Mean, I really want to see RC kind of take on more of a more public areas for racing.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, you look at most of the tracks. If you go to OCRC, you're in an industrial complex. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be that many people there. I mean, luckily, the buildings surrounding it have kind of moved into more public areas. I mean, there's a trampoline park and a church. So you kind of get people from, like, new people and from those. But, I mean, you go to, like, Revelation Raceway and Thunder Alley and stuff like that. It's just kind of, like, off and secluded.
Yeah.
You can't really see them. But all these big events, they're super cool and all. But if you can't get people outside the industry to see it and kind of like, oh, you know what, that's kind of cool, I want to get into this, you're not really promoting it to the right people. You're just promoting it to people that are already in it. Yeah,
that's all we're doing, you know, man. We're promoting to the same people over and over again, and then as manufacturers, we're just trying, we're cutting costs on our prices, trying to just get people to switch from team to team, and that's not substantial, you know. And that's like a buddy of mine. We was on this podcast the other day, and I was telling him, I'm probably going off a little bit of subject, but I forgot to talk about this because I saw you have it and you're building one too. I think AE done the smartest thing I've seen in RC in a long time in the last month, and that was come up with Element and the new trail truck that they came out with. The Sendero, is it called? I think it's called.
Yeah, so it's actually the Enduro is the chassis, and Sendero is the body.
Okay, but I think that is probably the smartest move I've seen this year. They said, we're not going to make a mini trucky. You know, we're not going to do this. We're going to go in a complete different genre of RC that's growing, that's popular, that people are spending money on. Because I love scale truck. I just got two myself. I see you have one on you're building one. Did you? I just think it's awesome what they've done, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean that truck is pretty impressive. I never was really into that side of it, but the more I look into it and the more I kind of see it, I mean that thing's gonna do. Mm-hmm. That thing's gonna be pretty awesome. Competition wise, it looks like it. I mean, they were at Aaron Lane was over at the K&K.
Yes,
and he said the truck was awesome. Everyone was looking at it. Everyone was always just wanted to drive it. So far, it's been getting a good response. I can't wait to see what everyone thinks when they actually get it in their hands and they have their own.
Right.
I think it's gonna be one of the best trucks out there in that division.
And they're offering so much different stuff to go with it, to change like wheelbase. Hey, great job. Kudos to AE. You guys won RC this year so far. That's how I look at it. Great job. But yeah, future of RC. Did you? I know I asked you this. We were supposed to record last week, but we both got busy. RCGP was this weekend. Did you watch any of it? Have you watched any of it?
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of it. I didn't have enough chance to watch too much though.
Okay.
Usually, what I do, especially like I do this with motocross as well, is if I don't get to watch it on the weekend, I'll go back and watch it during the week. Just keep it playing. But yeah, I know. I saw the podiums. I feel like Ongaro is he's impressive. I don't even know
It wasn't that.
how he gets it done. And
Well, I'll tell you what. This round. It wasn't that easy for him. Barufalo won. He won one race on Saturday. Barufalo won the other. I believe Barufalo TQ'd. No, somebody TQ'd over.
no, I believe he did. I think
Okay.
I heard that.
All right.
Yeah.
And then on the 60-minute race on Sunday, Ronefalk had the worst day ever on Saturday. I think he finished dead last after the 2:15 minute, or near dead last. Not sure. But on the second day of the long main, he ended up coming to like within 5 seconds of Ongaro. I mean, Ongaro kind of took the lead and ran off, but Ronefalk had a bad crash, went all the way to the back on the last lap, on the first lap, and he by the end of the race he was just under 5 seconds behind him. So it was a lot closer, and Ongaro was in the lead for the whole race. So it's that definitely made for a lot better racing. How do you feel about the whole series thing? Is it something you feel that's needed in RC and whatnot? Because I've seen some of your comments. I think you think it's a pretty good idea, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I support this 100%. I want to see more stuff like this in RC. I feel like having random races throughout the year all over the place and like 15 per weekend is really going to end up killing the sport. We don't have anything that's the same every year, that kind of like a championship. Like you're just kind of doing races all over the. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna say for the U.S.
Right. But
there's races all over the U.S.
Yep.
There's probably two. I mean, California can have 3 or 4 races a weekend, and all that's doing is just taking people from every that could go to. I mean, you could probably potentially have 300 to 400 entries if everyone was on at the same track at one time instead of split between 3 tracks. And now you have 100 entries at each track. So I think personally what I would like to see is that we kind of do like a whole, like, again, with the reset, we do a whole reset on the whole racing thing. Yes, your tracks can all have club racing. That's the basis. I think that every track should club race more often.
Yes.
And there should be bigger turnouts at club races. And then there should be a defined series that runs throughout the year. Maybe you have like regional series, but basically you have one thing that everyone knows that these are the races that you want to go to.
Right.
And it just keeps it more organized, and it just makes for less race conflicts. Because I know it's happened multiple times. I want to go to this race. Then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to sign up for this race.
Yeah.
And then I get invited to this other race, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm already going to this race. I can't go to that race.
Right.
And I know if that happens, not just to me, but like to other people, we're dividing all the racing up as much as we can. Like it's almost like our goal at this point. So I'd like to see more of a basically like a motocross national series.
Right.
Just like the RCGP is kind of, I would imagine, from what I see, it's starting to follow. It's kind of following the MXGP series.
Yeah. Well, how about actually having, like, I've always been a big proponent of having more professional, like a professionals, like, okay, we have, like, okay, I think to get, what do people want to watch? They want to watch Supercross and motocross, right? That's what they want to watch. They want to watch the best race. That's what I want to watch. You know, as a RC fan, I want to watch the best. Yes, I want to race too, but I'm not going to be able to race against those guys. I want to watch those guys race in multiple races to a championship. That's one of my biggest pluses. And actually do it to make a viable product to produce and show to new people and say, hey, this is pretty cool. We could try it too, because hey, regular people can do this as well. So I think that's the good thing that we need, man. I hate that we have to, you know, I really enjoyed the DNC this year because, wow, there was a lot of European guys there racing, you know, and last year there was quite a few. There was more this year than last year. And they just came off the Worlds in 2018 where everybody was there. We need to see these guys from Europe, from America, and from wherever else that there are pro guys like Asia and whatnot, Australia, racing each other more than once every 2 years.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I like that idea. I do also like the idea that you want to have like more. I was actually talking about this to Zach Rogers, because he's been trying to do a lot with changing the way RC is done and making it more professional. And one of the things that we talked about is exactly what you touched on, is having like pro races and amateur races. So you have the pro races. You have to have like let's just say you have to have a pro card, just like in Supercross.
Right.
To race this race, you have to have your pro card, and you have to make the show to be there. One, it'll shorten the length of an event because, I mean,
yes,
almost 4 to 5 days per event. I mean, that not everyone's able to do that.
No, of course not.
And you'll kind of give it more of like a spectacle to watch. You kind of get to watch something. You're not trying to focus on racing. So if you just focus on the pros, people will go there to watch them battle it out and race, and it'll be more of a spectator sport.
Yes.
Instead of being something like, oh, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it too. So now you're focused on your racing while trying to watch them, but then you're like, oh, well, I got to work on my stuff, so I can't watch them.
Exactly.
And then it kind of splits it in half.
Yeah.
But if we had like a pro national series again.
Right.
To where it was, yeah, you could go sign up for the race, but you have to make the show. You have to be there. Like in Supercross, Supercross, the top 40 guys make it to the night show. You don't make it in the top 40, you're not going to the night show. You're basically just watching. But then again, like I see that it would cut out a lot of the racers.
Yes.
But
they can still race. You can still race at these other races that happen. You know what I mean? Like let's put it this way, like what race? Yes, people want to see the pro guys race, but there's lots of races that don't have pros and they still get lots of entries. You know?
Yeah. There's a race in Canada that I go to. It's called the Big Barn Shootout.
Oh yeah.
And I've gone there twice, and I don't want to say that I'm super big, but besides Ty Tessman, I was like the next biggest driver there that traveled there. And besides Ty and I, I think there was like 350 entries.
Yeah. But it's a really healthy race scene up there in the Pacific Northwest as well. Really healthy. So, I don't know, man. We have to do something different. It doesn't... I kind of get on this soapbox every time I have someone on, but I like to get people's opinions on this. I know, for change to happen, change actually has to happen. And a lot of people don't want change, man. But something has to be done in our industry, because right now, all we're doing is doing the same thing over and over, expecting the same result. And that is insane. That is insane at all. And it doesn't work. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going in circles if we just keep doing what we're doing. But, perfect world, I'd like to see a pro series and an amateur series. So you have like in motocross, you have your mammoth motocross race. That's right. A local one in California, and then there's the Loretta Lynn's amateur national. I mean, that would be cool if you split your non-pro guys to amateurs. Then you kind of you're making it so that the race days are a little bit shorter. You don't have to cram so many people into 2 or 3 days of racing. And 2, you kind of give someone to like, okay, if I do good at this amateur race, I could become a pro. I think at this point there's no separation between
there is none whatsoever.
It's just, you want to sign up for pro? Go for it.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven a car yet? Nope, but I'm going to go for it anyways.
And that's where we have the guys who, I call them the almost pros. I was almost a pro. Or I'm going to be a pro. No. Like, if you're going to be a pro, you're going to be a pro. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It takes a lot of work. It's not glamorous as people think. It's not high paying as people think. It can be better, because it can be better when we start getting more people into RC. The more people we get racing cars, RC cars, and having fun doing RC, the better it is for everybody. It's just simple. And until people can actually see that, and the thing is, the club races and everything benefit from that, because the new people are going to come in, they have to go learn from somewhere, so they have to go to the clubs to learn. They have to go to the local tracks to learn, and then that increases the revenue for the local tracks and the local hobby shops where people are going to buy from. So, I don't know.
Exactly, and I hate getting on this subject as well, but this whole sponsorship thing that we have in RC is broken.
I agree, but I mean, then people will say, well, JQ Racing sponsors a lot of people, and I said we sponsor a lot of people just like every other company.
Everyone does it, and I get the whole reason for it, but I don't think it's right. And I think that a sponsorship should go back to you have to earn it, not just we'll help you out, like that kind of thing. I know, like working for AE, that I wouldn't say it's a handout,
right?
But it's pretty easy to get a sponsorship.
Yeah,
and
it's not hard, dude. I know. I've tried to be more selective as I've gone on with and just read through the lines and stuff like that. But if you don't give somebody a deal, somebody else will. That's why I always say, if you don't believe in what we're doing here at JQ Racing, then it don't make sense even driving our cars. Because
definitely, exactly that point you just made about if you don't pick them up, somebody else will. Yeah, I wish it was something different. I wish you still had, like, back when I started RC, when I'm back in the SoCal days, you really weren't ever handed it. You had to win races. You had to actually fill in a full resume with race results and earn your way to a sponsorship.
Yep.
But now it's like you just do club racing 3 days a week, win a couple of races here and there, and they're all right. Yeah, we're good.
Well,
but it's forcing the companies to do that because everyone does it.
Exactly, and each company is just cutting their costs more and more. Oh, he paid this much for kit. I'll give you this kit for $25 cheaper. Next, we're gonna it's just not feasible. The only way to solve that is to get more people into it.
Yeah.
So that's the only way to solve it. And I think a lot of people that are against change are the people that are scared their discounts are gonna disappear. At the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with giving a person a discount, man. Nothing at all. It's nothing wrong with helping people out. But I think some of these discounts that I'm hearing come out from people, I don't know how companies are making money, man. But, and it's nothing wrong with being a part of a team either. But I don't know. I like to say to people, people say, oh, like when people say, well, you do it. I said, look, man, we didn't start it. We didn't make the game up. We're just playing the game. Just like anything else. I just try to offer, I just try to treat people that drive, like that I meet, that are using our products, how I would like to be treated. You know what I mean? And how I like to be. And that's why I try to make everybody feel like they're special, man. Man, somebody does well, no matter where they're from, I'm happy for them. And I see it with AE too. I like it. Like, we are AE and all that stuff. I love it. Like, and that's good because that means there's brand loyalty, there's pride and whatnot. But you're always going to have them people that jump from brand to brand. And then they wonder why they don't get faster.
Right. It's like, yeah, especially when you're trying to like relearn your whole program again. I mean, if I were to ever leave AE and then try to relearn, it would take a year. I mean, to relearn how to build all the cars, how to set them up and all that stuff. Like, I know pretty much every AE car by the back of my hand. Yeah. Like, I could rebuild anything, build any of them, no manual, nothing. Just go for it.
Yeah.
So to have to relearn all of that, to regain all that knowledge in a whole new brand that's a lot.
Yeah. we definitely need to grow the hobby, and then that would eliminate a lot of the things that we see, So, but we have to grow the hobby. We have to come together as manufacturers to do something. Like, yes, a lot of people don't like Joseph, but I think if more manufacturers would have came together to support RCGP on this first year, it would be so much better. But I understand their points too. So hopefully in the next year, people rethink things. So
yeah, I mean, if I can get the money together, I would love to be part of the series. I was always talking to Justin about it.
Yeah. Like a Wallie builds team.
Yeah. That's what we were thinking about doing. But,
you can do it, but I mean, you just have to pay. Like, you have to pay the entry fee, then you have to pay for people to go to the races. It's not cheap. I know. I think they're gonna announce the U.S. date and venue soon. Well, in the next month, hopefully. But they have to, because people have to prepare to come to. And I think that's gonna be, wherever it is, it's gonna be great, man. And it's gonna be good. I think each event is getting better as they go along. This weekend's event was great. They're going to Asti next in Italy, which is going to be great too. It's good stuff, man. I don't know. Angara is unstoppable, man. He's a beast.
The kid is pretty good. He's very talented.
Oh, is he? There's a lot of young, fast European guys. There's a lot of young, fast American kids coming up too. But I think these European kids are just, because that's all they're doing, man. They're just racing 8 scale.
Yeah, definitely. but it's also like with Ongaro, I see him. He went and ran over, I believe it was the Euros for 2-wheel drive.
He's just talented.
He won that too. It's like,
That's just talented.
all right.
I don't know, man. He's just one. He's just. People talk a lot of crap about him and all that type of stuff, but I talk about the gyro and all that stuff. I say, yeah, he's got a gyro. It's in his brain and in his hands.
Yeah.
You know, so.
His talent. I don't know if he just raced a lot or what, but it's like you just watch him drive and how quick he responds to everything. It's impressive. I wish I could drive as fast as he could.
Oh man, he's good. You know who's really good too? This Barufalo is really good. He doesn't get enough credit, but he's really good. He's just so erratic. Like he's a little bit wild.
I've watched him because he was at Silver State, I believe.
No, he was at DNC.
DNC, yeah.
Yeah.
He was at the DNC, and just watching him, I was like, wow, he's a little out of control, but he's going fast being out of control. So it's kind of where it's like it's one of those. It's almost like a whole Mayfield thing. Like Mayfield used to be so punched everywhere, and then. But it worked. Like, he was able to go fast at it.
He's calmed down a lot, though. What the one thing I admire about Mayfield when I've watched him is his ability to come back after making mistakes.
Yes,
he
is
amazing.
Probably the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
He has a big mistake in the beginning, and it's amazing. He'll be there at the end. It's impressive.
When you got a chance, when you're sitting off not doing enough, and I did a podcast with him, man, it's pretty good. Like. It's really good. I enjoy talking to him. I like Mayfield too. He wears his heart. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he wants to win, man. He does. Hey, good guy. After I did the podcast, I understood more about him and realized, all right, he's actually a good guy. So
yeah, Mayfield's a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
A little hard to kind of understand at the beginning because he looks a little tougher than he is, but he's super super cool guy. Will do anything to help anybody. Like, yeah, he's just an awesome dude. Great driver.
Awesome driver.
A lot of heart. So,
all right.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude.
Well, we're pretty much near the end of this. We kind of went over what you would. Okay, well, let's talk about something that you would like. You said you like about the national series and stuff like that. Is there anything else you would like to see change in RC?
I mean, I just want to see it. I just want to see it get out into the more public eyes. I mean, I think that's one thing that we need to work on as a whole industry. And Traxxas does it pretty good for the RTR side, and they've got that pretty much locked down. But nobody really knows about the racing side. So everyone that I've met, when I explained to them, like, oh yeah, I work in the RC car industry and I do a lot of racing, and they're like, "Oh, you mean like the Traxxas stuff?" And I'm like, "No, not exactly. It's more like a full-on racing environment where you're at it. Like the best way to describe it is a supercross or motocross track, and you're racing cars that you can set up endlessly, and you're racing against other people. There's nationals, there's world championships, there's all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And they just like look at me like dumbfounded, like they've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
So like every time I get that, I'm like, all right, we definitely need to do a lot better work.
Of course, man.
On promoting, I wouldn't say like a brand, but I want to see it like promoting the hobby as a
industry as a whole.
Yeah, I want to see more races at public areas. Like I've thrown around the idea. It always comes down to funds. But we have our big Orange County Fair that happens every year. It's where the RCX show used to be. So like the RC Expo show. I've been wanting to try and get an RC race to happen on one of the days of the fair for so long, but it's just so I just haven't had enough time to put together a whole plan. Right. But it's still something that I would like to do. And honestly, like the whole idea behind it was haven't really messed with it too much, but like we're gonna call it like the Wallie Cup. Yeah. And make it a very, very similar format as the Monster Cup that happens in October.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Where you do like 3 main events and you win all 3, you get a certain amount of money. If you win this one and this one, you get the overall and you get this amount of money. Oh yeah. I think it'd be cool, 1, to show people RC, and 2, you attract people by offering up money, like a cash payout.
Oh yeah. I would just open that to that would be good. If you said that to the pros, like the Manufacturers Cup did that. If you ever get a chance, It was put on by Rick McCrary, Gary Guest. I'm probably missing a lot of guys that did this, but say 2006 to 2008, it was totally spectator orientated. They had the grandstand fill. I guess it was like a little, I don't know what type of arena it was. They gave out, I think Mayfield won a four wheel because he won one year. I think Tebow.
Yeah, I think I remember that. And didn't Tebow win a dirt bike?
Yes.
Someone won. Yeah.
Tebow won a dirt bike. They had the biggest jump, which was just a tabletop. The track wasn't too hard. It made for great racing. They had the biggest jump right in front of the spectators, so the guys could go over there and show off. And this is like when whips and all that stuff wasn't that big. So now imagine like the whips and stuff, people could be throwing off something like that. And the guy who won open class or sportsman or whatever they had, he actually won a year sponsorship from TLR. So
that's we can give stuff out like that and make it more of an event, like a spectacle event. You want people to come and watch this. We have to learn a way to make it more interesting for them and make it easier for them to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean so there's a couple of things that we need to improve on, and I would say that's one, a location, and two, the way timing and scoring works.
Yep.
And
announcers too. You have to have announcers that cater to the crowd, not to the racers.
Agreed. That's another huge thing. So you got to be able to have people that are able to explain it, and you got to be able to differentiate the cars on the track. So I know the number thing works pretty good, but I really like the way the RC GP is working, where everyone picks their own number, and you have your own number for the series.
Yes,
I think that's pretty cool because then people can they learn your number, just like in a motocross. Like, the number 2 is Cooper Webb, the number 3 is Eli Tomac. 94 is Ken Roxon. Like, those because you see it every day on social media. It's almost like they're advertising their number, and you can kind of learn, like, oh, I've seen that number 3 car. That's Wally. I know these things. Like, I feel like if we can make it more relatable to them, that they can see on social media through the week, when you're able to go watch a race, you understand more of what you're seeing.
Yep, I agree. And have like a pamphlet. They had it at the Nationals last year in Florida. They had a pamphlet with everybody who was involved, had their name, had like where they were from, had a picture of their car, so people can get a little feel. I mean, you can do that just with the pro guys. It will work. But yeah, I agree, man. We are 100% in agreement with that. I will not disagree with you there one bit. We need to do it. All right, man. Anything else you want to add before I go into? We have like one viewer question. You had a couple of friends ask questions on your Facebook, but I don't know if you want to answer their questions because they were kind of teasing you.
Yeah, those guys. I don't like to answer my questions from my friends because they're.
And Anthony Westergaard, I can't believe you ain't been listening to my podcast all this time. I thought you'd listen to it. Now he says he's going to listen to it. No, he should go listen to it. Some great. I know he doesn't want to hear Joseph talk. That's what it is. But him and Joseph are good friends, so I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Chris Trudeau, he has a couple questions. He goes, what's your biggest pet peeve when you see other drivers' cars? Wiring, cleanliness, lack of maintenance, or other?
I'd have to say the wiring. The wiring definitely gets to me. It's almost like an OCD type of thing. Like, I know it doesn't affect the way the car handles, but I like to see it super nice and clean. If I see wires everywhere, it kind of just tweaks my OCD a little bit.
Right. He also asks, 1 second, I lost it. He says, when you go to the track, what is the one item you can't leave? Sorry. Let me rephrase that. What's the one item when you go to the track you can't leave without that you have in your pit, that one pit item?
I'd say it'd have to be a speaker. Definitely got to play music when I'm at the track. That definitely helps out the whole day. Even if even if you're having a rough day, you just kind of sit back, listen to some music after a rough run, and kind of mellows you out and keeps you calm. So I think that's probably the biggest key to just being at the track.
All right. Well, we had another guy from Instagram. Peter Stein. He asked, "Do you live on what you earn from Wallie builds?" We already covered that. And Josh Gold, he's a young kid from up in Washington. I believe his dad races for JQ. He asked, how do you become so fast, Nick?
Lots and lots of practice and a lot of time in the pits. Because eventually practice will run out and you're going to have to make the car faster.
Mm-hmm.
So for every run, you want to spend at least a half hour, 45 minutes looking at stuff, thinking about stuff. Like, okay, if I always write down in my journal, like I have basically like a whole journal of 8 scale. I have setup sheets in there. I've got notes written down from how the engine was to what clutch setup I was running to what tires I was running to where the track was to setup changes that I've done, setup changes I didn't like. Why didn't I like them? So everything that I've ever done is noted, and I can refer to it back to when I go to a track. So I'm like, okay, there's a high grip track. I'll go back to where I went to this race, and I'll see what I liked and what I didn't like. And then it just kind of gets you a good starting point when you get to the track, so you're not chasing a bunch of stuff to try and get the car to work.
Right.
You can really just focus on the layout and learning it and figuring out the fast lines. So a lot of it is just there's a lot of off race day prep work that has to go into it. But when you get to race day, it's a lot better. It makes your life a lot easier.
Understandable. What other advice would you give to young and up and coming racers? Like I think one of the biggest things I see is a lot of fathers not letting their sons wrench as much and doing all the wrenching for them. I think it's a big mistake. I think they have to put their when the kids are able to understand what they're doing, they should get wrenching. What other advice would you give to young racers coming up as well?
I agree with that. And even if they don't want to wrench on their cars, or if their dad wants to be part of the program, I would recommend that they know what's going on, so they're not just kind of sitting there just driving. It's kind of what I was when I was racing boats, so I didn't really know. I couldn't build a boat to save my life today, and I wish I would know. I wish I would have learned all that stuff, but I can't. I don't know how to do it, and I'd have to go relearn it right now, and now I don't have the time for it. But I think the biggest thing is pay attention to what the pros are doing. Whenever they're out running, go out there and just watch them. Just see where their lines are at, learn what they're doing, listen to the throttle. You can, especially with nitro, you can hear it. And just pay attention to everything. Learn as much as you can from other people that have already done it. You don't need to ask them questions all the time, but when you're out on the track, like, see what lines they're hitting, see what their throttle's at. Are they scrubbing a jump, or are they just jumping it straight? That was the biggest thing for me. It's like learning to when not to whip or scrub a jump, because it's just going to be worse. But I just wanted to do it because it was fun. And 75% of the time, I'd end up with my lid because I crashed.
Yeah. Whips look cool, though. Whips are cool.
Whips are cool when you have a big lead and you're guaranteed to win. Don't start doing them unless they're necessary. Don't start doing them until you've already got that locked in. Because I've lost many of races because, one, I've either broke because I've landed a whip wrong and it just breaks something, or you just crash and the person goes by.
Pretty much.
But yeah, biggest thing to me is just learn as much as you can, know as much as you can about the car you're racing, and just you don't have to take everyone's advice, but at least listen and keep it stored in your knowledge bank. Exactly. Because it may not work this time, but if you're struggling later down the road and you have no one else to look to, you're like, you know what? That guy told me to try something. I should probably try it here. I think it'll work. Exactly. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But that's a huge thing, and don't get mad. There's a lot of things that can frustrate you racing. I mean, a bad qualifier, someone takes you out, someone breaks you. Just do your best to take it like, all right, this is what happened. Yelling and screaming about it is not going to help. And then just come back for another one.
Yeah, I agree, man. Too many people get frustrated and you blow out. You gotta have fun, man. That's one of the biggest things I see people not having fun anymore. Have fun.
Yeah, definitely focus on having fun. I know. Another thing is the sponsorships. I see it a lot in the younger crowds when the kids are just like, "Oh, I just got my sponsorship. I'm pumped to go racing," and then what happens is they start driving terrible because now they got this extra pressure that they've added to themselves. Even if you get a sponsorship, even if you have you feel like you have more pressure, don't worry about it. Just do your own race, focus on yourself, and don't worry about whatever's going around you.
Yep.
The biggest thing is like when you start thinking like, okay, I got to impress this guy. I got to make sure he's watching, so he does all this. You start making mistakes every lap, and then you get down on yourself and you get frustrated. And then I've seen kids get sponsorships and quit racing 4 months into it.
Yeah.
They just can't take the pressure and they stop.
That sucks.
So you gotta focus on just having fun. Just go out there, race, enjoy the competition, and it'll be fun.
Awesome. I agree with you, man. I agree with a lot of things you say, so that's good. All right. Now, Nick, we have this segment of the podcast called the 10 questions, 10 seconds segment. And you basically, I'm going to name off some questions. Some of them to do with RC, some aren't. And you basically have to answer them as fast and truthfully as you can. They might take longer than 1 second, obviously. So you can explain yourself a little bit.
Now we go into the Fast Trace 10 questions in 10 seconds segment. Fast Trace is a world champion option parts brand made in Italy. Fast Trace drivers include Davide Ongaro and Riccardo Berton, and they run the innovative performance-enhancing parts that Fast Trace makes for most 1/8 buggies, including the world-famous honeycomb shock bladders and caps. Go to fasttraceshop.com and type in Lefty 2019 to get 10% off your purchase now.
So, Nick, are you ready for the No Name RC podcast 10 question, 10 second segment?
Let's give it a shot. Here we go.
All right. So, the first one is Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Okay. Number 2, 10th scale or 8th scale?
8 scale.
Woohoo. Number 3, dirt or turf?
Dirt.
Okay. Number 4, best RC driver right now is?
I'd say Ongaro.
Okay. Number 5, the best race you've been to?
The recent Silver State in the South Point Arena.
Okay. Number 6, favorite motocross rider?
All time, Villapoto.
Okay. Number 7, stock or mod?
Modified.
Okay. Number 8, best car build you've built so far, the one that you're most proud of?
I have to say it's the Marsha build right now.
Okay, which is badass. I can't wait to see the finished product. Number 9, because you're 27 and I know it's California and you like to have a little fun. Your favorite alcohol drink is?
Crown and Coke.
Yeah. Okay. Number 10, the best music to wrench to?
I'd say the stuff that I listen to the most often is Mac Miller.
Mac Miller. Okay. Good stuff. All right, man. Well, thank you for participating in the No Name RC podcast 10 question, 10 seconds segment. This concludes our podcast. Is there anything you would like to say? Anybody you would like to shout out? Say thanks to? Now's your time, bud.
Yeah, just thank you for having me on here, and thanks for basically everyone that's helped me get through some of the rougher parts of my life and give me the opportunities to do what I do. It's been awesome. So want to keep it going, keep things rolling.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, man. We finally got it done. I know you've been busy. I've been busy, and good stuff, man. I appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, I had a great time talking to you as well.
All right, man. Thank you for your time. Before I go into the JQ Racing rant, I like to put this disclaimer out there. This disclaimer is for people who have young children who might be listening to the podcast. This is the part of the podcast where it gets a little rowdy, it's got cursing in it, jokes and whatnot, just banter that we would be doing normally as men or adults at the track in the pits. I fully get that a lot of people don't like that, and that's fine. So if this ends your podcast experience for this episode, we greatly appreciate your support. Thank you all. We can't do it without you, and we look forward to bringing you the next episode. If this doesn't end your podcast experience, please enjoy the JQ Racing rant. And remember, nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills, and if you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense.
We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on.
Whoa. Things are about to get serious.
It's time for the JQ Racing Rant.
So hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the JQ Racing Rant, the uncensored, unfiltered, shit-talking, shit-founting man himself is with us this week because it's just me and Jeff this weekend. What's up, Jeff? How are you?
I am doing fan-freaking-tastic. A little sad that my little buddy JQ is not with us today because he's scared to confront me about the RCGP.
No,
but that's okay. We're gonna save that for another time.
Yeah, he's actually flying back to Finland.
Yeah.
So...
Excuses.
All right. Mm-hmm. So how are you, man? Everything's good?
Yeah, everything's good. Just chilling at the house, relaxing, and going on a little mini vacation this week. So
very nice.
Doing
very
nothing.
Nice. So I wanted to talk to you a couple of things because we actually talked about this throughout the weekend. It's two rants. I think we'll start off with, I think one of the things that's one of the biggest headlines I'm seeing coming out of AMS this weekend, which was Ty Tessman's pass on Ryan Lutz. And first off, I don't know Ty, but I'm not the biggest fan. I'm seeing him do some questionable things, like on video, like I would when he hit Cav back in the 2016 Worlds and whatnot like that. But I don't think he does what it takes to get racing. I think he's hacked some people and not got called for it. I'll be straight up with you. What he done on Lutz in Truggy, I do not think it was a hack. I think it was a perfectly placed pass when Lutz opened up the door. He went wide, Ty went on the inside, and then when Lutz turned in, he hit him, and then that's when, kind of Lutz's car bounced over into the washboard area. A lot of people have been saying it's dirty, it shouldn't have happened, and Ty hacked him and all that stuff. And I get that because I like Ryan Lutz, and I'm happy that he won Buggy, and he almost won Truggy. He dominated Buggy. But I don't think that was a dirty pass. It was the last lap. I think it was actually a really great pass, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with everything you said. I think anybody in their right mind would agree that the pass itself was good. I think where the controversy comes is it's a fanboy thing. So Ryan Lutz, who is always a fan favorite when he goes to any race because he's such a great guy and a great ambassador and everybody likes him and everybody's hoping and wants him to win and all this other stuff, that you can kind of take something like this that's not even a gray area because it was a clean pass. Mm-hmm. I mean, clearly, just like you said, Lutz kind of drifted out just a little wide. Ty saw the door. He went in. If you watch Lutz's tires, you can see him kind of overcorrect, turn back in towards Ty. The minute their wheels touch, you can see Lutz turning out to keep from hitting Ty. Mm-hmm. And because he was turning out and the tires touched, it was like a slingshot and just shot his truck off the track.
Yeah.
So to me, it was completely clean. It was a racing thing. If anything, my question on the whole thing is, how the hell did Ty even catch him?
It's crazy.
Lutz had easily 4 or 5 second lead on that last lap. And, I mean, Ty just reeled him in. So either Lutz's tires were going and he just had no traction, was slow, or he was playing Dick conservative, just not direct on this last lap and didn't realize how fast Ty was coming because, I mean, you could see it. I mean, he was on point. He was catching him a 10th here, a 10th there, the last 3 or 4 laps. And that last lap, he had to have made up a second and a half, easy.
Oh man, it was a great pass. Had he come in hot and hit Lutz directly, if you look at the video, Ty's already going straight, pretty much.
Right.
And he come in mid corner and hit Lutz in the side or punted him from the back. Obviously, it's a hack, but he was already pretty much coming pretty much past mid corner and getting ready for exit. And that's when he turned in. But the internet went ballistic. Like I saw some of the comments. I was reading them today. I was reading them yesterday. It's I think.
Well, again, you got to go by the fans. It's the fans that are saying. It's kind of like me, right? So when I I never, ever pass up an opportunity to bang on a Proline driver or something to do with Proline, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. If there's a way I can bang on Proline, I'm going to do it. And even on Proline's Facebook page, when they posted the video of the thing, I had to post on there saying, yo, don't want to miss an opportunity to bang on a Proline, dude. But that shit was pretty clean. And it's the same thing here. So anytime there's a controversy regarding LUTs and a racing incident, the fans, which there's way more fans for LUTs than there is for Ty,
Mm-hmm.
they're all going to side with LUTs, right or wrong.
Yes.
And you had the same thing with Spencer Rifkin at DNC a few years back. Now, that was a little more aggressive, and that's a little more questionable if Spencer took him out and went on to take third, I think, or whatever it was. But Spencer caught so much hell for that pass for the longest time. I mean, for a long time, he got deemed a hack because of that. And to me, even that one was a little questionable. Like, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But Lutz was pissed, and Lutz played it up, you know, with the posts after the race and all that stuff, and people got on board, and Spencer was the hack. And it's kind of the same thing here. It's questionable race. Lutz had one buggy. They wanted him to pull the double, and he got beat.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you ask Lutz directly and said, yo, what was up with that pass? He's going to be like, yo, man, he just kicked my ass. Without saying ass. Because, it was, you know.
Yes, of course, he wouldn't say that. But it was a great pass, man. And I love it. I just love that the internet was that's the type of drama I like to see in RC. That type of stuff. Me too. You know?
That passion. That's what, to me, what creates all the fun part of it, you know, is analyzing all that shit.
Yeah. Good thing we didn't have Joseph, because he would have done a frame by frame analysis and then said it's a CTO because it isn't a CTO, and oh my gosh. He would have broke it down by millisecond like he usually does. It probably would have took him an hour to analyze that one pass. So that's how good we didn't have him on her. Yeah, I think it was a clean pass. I know people are probably going to disagree with me. If you guys don't agree with me, put it in the comments. I want to see what you guys think. I know what people think. But if it was me, I would have done that. I would have been on the inside and done that if I could do it.
My question, though, outside of that pass, and it seems like we're on AMS, is where was Ty in the buggy?
Yeah.
To me, and I don't know if it's a car thing or if it's just a Ty's going through something thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But to me, it does seem like Ty has fallen off a little bit. I kind of thought the same thing about Cav too.
But he came back in this race.
But Cav definitely came back this week. I think Cav's performance at AMS was pretty good, even though he didn't win anything But I think that was a good step forward for him and S-Works and confidence.
You know what Joseph's thing is? He says once drivers start getting girlfriends and having sex, they get slower. So I don't know.
Well, so what are you saying? Are you saying
I don't know? I'm not saying anything.
Some chick or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe he's struggling. He's just struggling somewhere, man.
Maybe he found some magazines or something. Who knows?
Oh, geez, you go the other way. I didn't say that. That's you. I don't know. He just hasn't. He's been on truck. He's been good. He did come second at Silver State. I don't know. Well, the Nationals are coming up. It's going to be great.
To me, it just seems like he's off. He's off somehow, some way. He's off. He just doesn't seem like he hasn't been dominating. And, you know, he's always there, but he's fast. He's going to, you know, his off day is still faster than 90% of everybody else's best day, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying he sucks or that he's losing anything. He's off. Like, he's off a little bit. Well, and it's noticeable. And it's not even just the 8 skill side. It's the 10 skill side, too. I mean, it just seems
I was shocked that he didn't go to the world's warm up, and that comes to what I've been saying for a long time. He's the number one X-ray driver in America, but he's not X-ray's number one driver.
Right.
Bruno Coelho is X-ray's number one driver.
I would agree with that.
And I think playing second fiddle, because I think that's what he went through at HB. That's one of the reasons he left HB. He was number one for the longest while. Then Runafout came along, won the Worlds, and he wasn't number one at HB. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, to me, and this is just me psychoanalyzing shit like I do and kind of, assuming, but I personally think that there's no secret that they were shopping around last year for a new chassis deal. I mean, that's out there. It's not a secret, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that he didn't get a new chassis deal, probably with somebody that he wanted to, whether it be Associated or TLR or whatever, that he's probably just not happy at X-Ray,
mm-hmm.
and it's showing, because when you're not happy with what you're driving or you're not happy with your program, it affects your racing.
Yes.
And I think that's where they're at. I think they're just not happy with where they're at, whether it be the car or the team or their deal or the situation, or Gord's not getting along with Hootie, or whatever the case is. They're not happy, and it's showing in the racing. Well, that's my assessment.
Time will tell. The Nationals is coming up. Lutz dominated Buggy at this race. He put in a great show. Congratulations once again to him and Billy. And it's you. Well, I have Fenn picked for Nationals. He did not show up this weekend. I saw Fenn. He was fast, but he didn't. I was watching when they're doing.
Though, like he can't run a main. He can TQ. He can run qualifiers. He's fast for 5 minutes. But that dude struggles in mains.
Well, right. Well,
I'll never put him in my win category until they turn that around.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to change my picks now. I'm going to go top 3, Lutz, Mayfield. In no particular order. Lutz, Mayfield, and I'm going to put Fenn in there, man. No, Tebow. I'm going to put Tebow in there because I think that Lone Star track is going to suit him in his and the Techno car.
All right. Well, I'll do my top 3. We're talking Nationals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my top 3 in order because that's how confident I am.
Okay.
So I'm saying Lutz is going to win. This is Lutz's year. He is clearly faster with the Agama than he was with the Techno. He's way more confident. He's driving aggressive. He's everything. If Lutz is ever going to win a major title, it is this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a lot of time at Thornhill.
Yes, he does.
So I'm going Lutz for the win. Mayfield in second. And Spencer will pull out a podium in third because, again, Spencer's got history at Thornhill.
Yes, he does.
That's where he won his Nationals. Every time he goes there, he does decent. That's his style track. So he'll be on the podium top 3.
I can't argue with Lutz winning that. I can't argue with it, but I still think if Fenn's on, that's my dark horse. That's my dark horse.
Who's going to TQ? I'll put Dakota in for TQ because you're right. He's fast TQing. But that dude's going to flame out. Let's be honest.
He's got a OS. He shouldn't be flaming out.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he struggles the way he is.
Right.
But
we shall see. It's not long. Favorite race. One of my favorite races. This Euros, Worlds. Ooh, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Did we ever find out if Live RC is going to be there or not?
I haven't heard anything yet. I hope they are.
Either.
I hope.
I put a couple fillers out to see, but nobody knows, which is pretty sad.
If I can't watch the Nationals, I'm going to be upset.
Well, we're going to have to rely on J Concepts.
Yeah, Thomas will be busy.
Thomas will be super.
Okay, another thing, because I saw another thing that popped up in social media this weekend was I don't know if I think it seems to come after Dave's races. Maybe people talking about sportsman guys, sponsored people in sportsman class. Now, first, I know Dave doesn't have the rule that like maybe the Dirt Nitro Challenge, and Silver State have, where you can't have a chassis sponsor. Even though I know for a fact that there are people running, it doesn't, like, come on, let's be realistic. Everybody's getting a deal somewhere, somehow. So you can't. It's a stupid way to do it. But I guess you got to have some rules somewhere. Dave doesn't have that. I saw Jimmy Babcock make a comment, and I thought it was it's very smart what he said. He said, sponsorship does not dictate skill level.
Right.
And I agree with him. I think you should race where you can do well at. If you're going to sportsman and you're literally sandbagging and you come out and you blow everybody away by 3 or 4 laps, then you sandbagged and you should be running open. If you come and you just about win sportsman, then that's where you should be. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, you should move up after. I think you should move up once you win it. But
okay. Well, here's my take on that on this side. So, sportsman versus sponsorship. Where should you be? All that other stuff, right? That's the question. So for me, and going back to Dave's races, so I do like the way how Dave does it, in the sense that Dave is not going to tell you which class you can or cannot run in. Mm-hmm. But they do, and they have moved people up who are clearly in the wrong class. So like you said, if Joe Schmo enters sportsman and he goes out and he TQs, and his TQ run puts him in, I think it's like a top 7 of the next class up, you get moved up into that class. And to me, that's the way it should be. I think that's why we have a race director. That's why we have people running the races, so that they can monitor that sort of thing.
I agree.
And 100% skill set and sponsorships are not the same. Everybody, like you said, everybody has a deal of some sort, rather it be through a hobby shop, rather it be through a manufacturer, rather it be through a buddy who's sponsored by a manufacturer. Everybody's got a deal. Everybody's got an in. Everybody's got something going on. So sponsorships are here to stay. People are getting them left and right. It's not going to change. The manufacturers aren't going to change it. It's just the way our industry is today. Skill set, to me, is based on, and it's not even a one-off thing. So if Joe Schmo goes into sportsman at AMS and wins sportsman at AMS, and then he decides to go to Wicked Weekend the next big race, I don't feel like he should move up to open the next weekend.
Right.
I think, to me, it's a year-long process.
I agree.
If I dominate sportsmen at the major races all year long, then yeah, next year move up to open. If I dominate open, then yeah, you should move up to the next class. But just because I won this weekend doesn't mean I'm going to win next weekend.
Exactly.
Tracks dictate a lot. You know, if I can be, I've been on tracks where my times are as good as the pro guys, but I'm nowhere near those guys. So on this particular track, on this particular day, I was a little extra focused and I was able to kick ass. But then the next 10 weekends, I'm going to suck. Mm-hmm. So you can't base it off of one race either.
Yeah. I'm not going to piss in anybody's cornflakes if they do well in sportsman, man. And then I look at, if they went and won by 5 laps, yes, I will say something. Right. But, man, I think people should race where they want to race, where they feel comfortable. Should people move up? Yes, of course. People should move up eventually to get better, you know?
Well, here's the saying is, right? So here's the saying. The saying is, if you're a newbie or you've been racing for a little while, whatever. If your goal is to get faster and continue to grow and continue to move up the ranks and continue to beat better people, you have to race better people.
Yes.
That's a proven fact. If I wanna race the pro guys, and I wanna eventually one day beat the pro guys, I have to race the pro guys as much as I possibly can. I'm gonna get my ass handed to me every single time for a long time, but eventually you're going to learn the pace, and you're going to learn how to put a runs together and stay consistent and not wreck and all that other shit. And eventually you'll get there. Now, to me, there's also a time frame in this, because if you take me personally, I'm 44 years old. Like, I'm not going to get any better.
No.
I may be more consistent one weekend, or I may win a race one weekend, or I may even be able to compete with a pro level driver one weekend. But overall, my speed is maxed out. My eyesight's maxed out. Like, I'm as good as I will get, and I'm actually on my decline of getting worse each week, right? So for me personally, I get called a sandbagger all the time when I run open at the regional races.
You're not out there winning open though.
Well, I mean,
you do well. You do well in open.
Since I switched to JQ, I have been.
Yeah.
You know,
you've been doing well at open.
But I can compete for podium wins and 40 plus in an open at any race I go to. And so people get pissed because they feel like I'm sponsored by some of the best companies there is. I've been racing for 30 plus years, and I'm somewhat fast on certain days.
Yes.
And I'm really slow and really sucky on other days. But I'm not going to move up into pro because I know for me personally, it's not a trophy chasing thing,
right? But
it's a competitive thing. Like, I want to compete at the end of the day. I don't want to be done at 10 o'clock in the morning. So for me, it's prolonging my race weekend. It's not about winning or losing. Honestly, everybody wants to win.
Yes.
But for me, I want to compete. Win or lose, if I'm in a great race with the best in my class at that particular weekend, I'm happy.
That's what the point comes down to. You're exactly competing with people of like your peers. Like, you're not blowing people away. Everybody in that class and that final is on similar times.
Right.
You know, it's different. And I don't think you should move because you'd be in the lower mains of pro, like just taking up space.
I would typically, in most regional races, my open times and all my open times, qualifying or mains, whatever, would typically put me in the middle to lower half of a B main of the pro classes.
Yes.
And again, so the sidekick to that is well, even in that B main, I'm still racing people of my same skill set. That's the whole point of the ladder system of the mains, right?
Yes.
Just like the Nationals coming up next week. One class, everybody's racing everybody. Well, you're going to get separated at the end of the day. You're going to get put in the main in which you are equal to your peers, right? And that's great. And I like that. And I have no issues with that. And the Roar race is usually typically my favorite race because it does put you in a spot where you can compare your skill set with everybody that shows up at that race.
Right.
And there's no second guessing it. So if I'm a D main guy, then I'm going to be racing D main guys, and we're going to have a great race in the D main.
Got you.
But for me, it's about the race day. Like, I like racing at the end of the day. I don't want to be done at noon and packing my shit up and then watching the rest of the races. I want to be watching the rest of the races, preparing for my main event. And that's why I like the way how I race in the classes I race in now.
Yep. I just think we got caught up on that. And it's like I said, Jimmy Babcock made a great statement. Sponsorship does not dictate skill level. I think you should race where you're comfortable at. I'm old. Right. I'm not getting any fast. I'm getting old now. If I race, I'm not getting any faster. So I should race where I'm comfortable at racing with my peers or whatever. You know, if you're like you said, if your goal is to get faster, then you go to race with faster guys.
That's right.
Simple
So
as that.
if I'm a young gun, just like Cribbs, right? He won the sportsman class at AMS.
Stubbs.
Or
Jason Stubbs.
Stubbs. That's it. So great kid. Like, I really like this kid. He's an awesome guy. So he wins sportsman. Now, if he goes to another big race, regional race like Wicked Weekend or something, should he run open? Should he run sportsman? To me personally, it depends on from where he is today to when that race shows up, because a person can grow in a month.
Yes.
Like, they can really grow in a month. So if he takes the confidence that he just did here at AMS, and that boosted his confidence, which is worth tenths of seconds, a second off of his time in reality, and he starts going club racing tomorrow or the next day, or he goes to another race next weekend and he dominates the race, and then the weekend after that he goes to another race and dominates that race, and his confidence keeps building over the next month, then dude, he should run open when he goes to Wicked Weekend, right?
I agree.
But if he goes out the next weekend or the next 3 weekends or 4 weekends and tanks it and sucks, and all the confidence he built up at AMS just went down the tube, then he needs to use Wicked Weekend as another confidence booster to build him back up.
Yeah. And then go open in the new year.
Yeah. I mean, a person should dictate where they race based on their confidence level going into that race.
Yep.
So just because he runs sportsman this week or runs sportsman next week doesn't mean he shouldn't run open in 3 weeks. Or if he moved up to open and got his ass handed to him, it doesn't mean he shouldn't move back down to sportsman 2 weeks later.
Yep. I agree, man. And a lot of people have to understand that on that same sponsorship doesn't dictate skill level. There's lots of guys out there that are sponsored that aren't really fast, but they bring much value to a team, to a brand that isn't found on the track. You know what I mean? Right. They're helpful. There's lots of guys out there that are fast that know how to wrench on cars and know about setup. They may not be fast, but they know a lot of things. So it's really hard to get on people about that, man. Race where you feel comfortable. I don't think there should be any rules about where you race. This whole sponsorship thing isn't going anywhere. We all know that. The whole class thing isn't going anywhere. So stop. I saw it after the last race. I think it was at the SIC. I saw it as well. I really wasn't paying attention at the PMB. But hey, I think Dave has it right. I think it's great. Race where you're comfortable. Everybody had a good time. Blam. Congratulations, Jason Stubbs. He won that too. I'm gonna throw that in. It's good. Very proud of him.
The thing about it too, though, is ego plays a big role in it, right? So that's what a lot of people don't think about is look, we're playing with toy cars. There's 2 things we get at the end of the day: an ego boost and a trophy. Which, hey,
by the way,
props to Dave.
They are nice.
Stepping up his trophy game.
Big aluminum ones.
Did we get a thank you from that, by the way? Because if it wasn't for us and the No Name RC podcast, we would probably have crappy trophies at AMS.
That was more you than anybody, but yeah.
No, that's an us. Come on, that's a team effort.
No, they were nice and they were big too. Wow, people were holding them up.
So he props to Dave stepping up the trophy game like I was. And props to RCGP, man. The trophies they gave out were badass.
Yeah, did you see the TQ trophy? I think that was the best.
That thing was cool as shit.
Yeah, that was badass.
So, props to those guys for upping their trophy game. But back to the situation here. Ego, trophy, right? That's what we race for. So the problem I see kind of going forward too is a lot of people are moving out of the pro class to run open. And open is becoming the biggest class.
Yep.
Right? Outside of 40 plus. 40 plus is the biggest class.
Yes.
Is that not accurate?
I think 40 plus and open are the 2 biggest classes at any big race.
Definitely. But I think 40 plus even has open. That's just pretty sad. But anyway, the point being is the pro class is losing entries. And so eventually it's going to get down to, like, you're going to be filling at a regional race, you're going to be filling a pro class with one main of 15 or 16, or you're going to get just a B main in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's also sad, because, you know, that should be the next generation running up in that class and working their way up. But the next generation likes the winning, wants their ego, needs that boost, and they stay in open maybe a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a fine line there. It is hard to judge. But again, I still think it's a confidence thing. Going into this particular race, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good. My stuff's working. My car's good. My engines are good. My program's good. I'm going to go race with the big boys, and I'm going to get some speed.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I just two things I saw this weekend, and I was like, we need to talk about this. So, good stuff.
I agree.
You gave a really good explanation, a really good account of yourself, Jeffrey. Very good.
You know, I am what I am. I know what I am. I'm not saying that's the big misconception about me personally is I've been doing this way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's not about the racing anymore. Like, I enjoy racing. I enjoy driving. I enjoy working on my stuff and preparing my stuff and all of that stuff. But for me, the racing is the environment.
Yes.
That's what I go for. I'm going for the environment. I'm going for the people. I'm going for the trash talking. I'm going for the drinks. I'm going for the good time. And the racing is second to me. So to me, it's not. Now, don't get me wrong. I get super pissed when I don't do good, right?
I've seen that too.
But there's a difference between me not doing good because I struggle with the track. So on some tracks, I just struggle. And it pisses me off because I know I'm better than what I'm showing on the track.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm racing to my potential and I know that I'm doing everything right and it's still going wrong, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Who cares? But if I'm struggling because the track is stupid or the track sucks or I can't see, that's a big thing, especially with these indoor arena races. You know, when I know that my stuff is good and I know I'm driving good, but because of the fumes and the smoke and the shitty lighting and I can't see my car and I wreck and lose, that pisses me off because it's something that's out of my control.
Got you. I understand that. I'm not to that point yet, but it does get difficult. I like to see like a PMB where the track's so big. Like, I don't know how people can see when it's way out, like, you know, over by the wall and stuff like that. But I guess people get it done. That's why it's a young man's sport, man.
It's a young man's sport. It really is. I mean, it's hard and it's getting harder.
Yes,
but,
it is.
I mean, these kids are getting fast. Like, there's a lot of. Look at Caden.
The Fullers.
Caden Fuller.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, that kid is he's getting ridiculously fast.
Yeah, his dad's actually on the Techno Grassroots Racer Spotlight this week on this podcast. So, yeah. They're fast.
I mean, it's awesome. I love seeing those kids blossom and just come out of nowhere. Like Caden, now in Caden's case, like that kid's been fast. He's been getting faster.
Yep.
And to me, he's like at that point where if he wants to take that next level, he's got to just take his hits and go race with the pro guys.
Yep.
And he's got his win and he's got some good boost. And if he wants to continue to grow and get faster, he's going to have to race those faster guys.
Yeah. He's racing them in his area, but he needs to come out and race them, you know. He's got some fast kids up there. Fast guys up in that area, that Midwest area. So I like seeing all of this too, man. I definitely think, you know, I say this all the time, the youth is the future. So definitely got to promote them. I like the under 15 race that Dave does as well. So good stuff.
I do too. I just wish, I wish he would promote that more.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he would promote and break it up and have an e-buggy class too. Do a under 15 e-buggy and nitro class. And I think we in general, I mean, not just Dave, but
yes,
racing in general needs to do a better job in promoting the 15 and under group, because it's.
I agree. I think we can have a 15 and under and an 18 and under as well. That would be good. Like, but I mean,
most of the kids that are 18, it needs to be. If anything, it needs to be younger. It needs to be like a 12U.
Probably, yeah. Maybe also, if you're like in the pro main, you don't run that main. I don't know, because I know like in the Euros, they have an under like a junior race, but if you're in the semifinals, you don't run that race.
That I do like. Actually, that is something I do like that the Euros do. Is it's not even a class. It's, hey, we know who belongs in the even 40 plus. They do the same thing there.
Yeah.
It's not a specific class. Hey, you old dudes, these 16 qualify. Go race a main.
Yeah, whoever qualifies that in that position, like if you're in that age group and you qualify here, that top 16 guys, they go. They don't have to do whole separate qualifying and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Like, I think that's the way how we should do all of our races in all these regional races is the one-off, 15-minute main, 20-minute main, whatever, 40-plus guys, but again, in the U.S., the 40-plus is the biggest class. Mm-hmm. So they can't just eliminate the class because that's going to eliminate half their freaking entries.
Good stuff. All right, man. Well, I think it was a pretty passive rant. We need to get Joseph on her next weekend so we could get you activated, and it'll be fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it is a little mellow because
but
he's
we
not
talked
here, and I feel a little down. But we did cover some
good points. We covered some great points. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your vacation. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you think about what we covered here in the rant. Remember, guys, nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And hey, if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. And if you ain't having fun, it doesn't make sense.
And if you don't get blocked by Joseph, then you're not doing anything on Facebook.
All right, everybody. Thank you for your time. You guys enjoy your weekend of racing.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. Please tune in next time for more fresh RC content. And if you can, please also support us on patreon.com/The Quay Grain. We will greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, Nitro is the glory.